Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Every man is born equal. Power to the people. Good over evil. I couldn't make them medicine illegal. Every man is born equal. Power to the people. It's good over evil. I couldn't make them medicine illegal. The antisocial vocalist, yeah. It's obvious who the dopest is. Form the union like the Soviets. Come here, the Babylonians kind of coexist. They stole the science of the obelisk just to promote some fish. They want to lock the YGs up for smoking splits. I turn a blind eye with the MPs like groping kids. I'm the ting twisty and reload the clip. I marvel at what they're for, like Odin's kid. Their comical curriculum, I can't focus. Yeah, I didn't even want to learn about their bogus kids. The walls of my estate were closing in. Tell me how are we supposed to win? Don't care about equality. They're pushing sodomy. Your mind's a new colony for the new world authority and the satanic policies. Minority run the majority with technology, so I sing with no apology. Every man is born equal. Power to the people. Good over evil. I couldn't make the medicine illegal. Every man is born equal. Power to the people. It's good over evil. I couldn't make the medicine illegal. More time, you can catch me where the rebels are with Manda on Babylon on a regular. Manda I could to separate with their cellular. Cause that can't come on the ride. So my killer when it butt me, I'ma look that in its retina. Cause me and Karma kept shit black and white like a zebra. I'm good with what comes for me. The fake ain't my business cause I keep the realest company. I came up in a crazy existence, never abide or comply. All we know is resistance. Gotta make the most of this life that I've been given, so I can't conform to all your policies and systems. All I know is go complete that mission, go get it, don't ask for permission. This life is a battle of
good over evil,
and the real ain't quitting. Every man is born
equal. Power to the people.
Good over evil. I couldn't make the
medicine illegal. Every man is born equal. Every man and every more power.
It's good over evil. I couldn't make the medicine illegal. Hold your focus,
maintain your composure. Come on, a soldier.
Wicked people are do all manner of
evil. Cause them no know Jah. In a patois, like a reservoir, a light, and their friends are war. Babylon, au revoir.
But in the meantime, I'm just here to connect you.
To be a bridge.
To be a twig that possesses
fruits.
That do you
good bid.
It's true that this
shit is rigged.
But check this view, the mind of school. You're blessed with tools
and you can live
through any movement to prove that as in the truth, you can live. When you do it,
my brother, do it big.
Western philosophy will
meet his demise. Word to the wise, it's Elijah.
Every man is born
equal. Power to the people. Good over evil.
I couldn't make the
medicine illegal.
Every man is born equal.
Every man and woman. More power.
It's good over evil. I couldn't make the medicine illegal.
Whoop, whoop. Hey. Hey. We got 4 minutes. I'm gonna give it a little reload because it's exclusive, you know. Yeah. Sounds like REDPILLTRILL, Todd's, and Randy Valentine, aka Elijah Moore. Happy New Day, happy Sunday, everyone. Hit that like button. Come on, family.
Yeah.
Big up 6'4".
Every man is born equal.
Yeah. And if you know you were born equal, hit the like button, family tree. Yeah.
Every man is born equal.
Every man and
Power
woman,
to the people.
more power.
It's good over evil. I would have made a medicine illegal. It's the antisocial vocalist. Yeah, it's obvious
To the dopest is
who formed the union
like the Soviets.
From here the Babylonians
Cannot coexist.
they sold the science of the obelisk
Trying to promote some fish.
They wanna lock the white G's up
For smoking spliffs.
I turn a blind eye with the MPs. I
Groping kids.
I shoot the thing until it's empty.
Reload the clip.
I marvel at what they're for.
Like Odin's kin.
Their comical curriculum.
I couldn't focus in
I didn't even wanna learn
about their bogus kings.
the walls of my estate
Are closing in.
Tell me how are we supposed to win? Don't care about equality. They're pushing sodomy. Your mind's a new colony for the new world.
Apple cider vinegar.
Satanic policies. Minority run the majority with technology. So I sing with no apology. Every man is born
Corella.
equal.
Spirulina.
To the people. Good
Tastes like
over
shit.
evil. I could have made the medicine illegal. Every man is born equal.
Smoothie.
To the people. It's good over evil. I would have made the medicine illegal. More time, you can
Catch me where the rebels are.
Manda on Babylon.
On the regular.
Manda are good to separate with their cellular.
Cause that can't come on the ride.
So my killer when it fucked me, I'ma look that in its
Retina.
Cause me and Karma kept shit
Black and white. Like a zebra.
I'm good with what comes from me. The fake ain't my business
Jeez.
cause I keep the realest company. I came up in a crazy existence. Never
We got Ultra. Salute.
We know it's resistance.
Open up the super chat.
I gotta make the most of this life that
Hey.
I'm given, so I can't conform to all your policies and systems.
No way.
All I know is go complete
That mission.
Go get it, don't ask for permission.
Do it, do it.
This life is a battle of
Good over evil.
and the real ain't quitting. Every man is born
We got Somi Sosa. Somi Samosa. Rika B. Axum Queen. Western Goddess. All the sisters in the building, man. Love that. Come on. Awaiting wisdom. Hold tight, conscious. I see you there. Smash that like button. Your composure. A man a soldier. Hey, 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 hey. The brother just for music in a patois. Reservoir of light. Friends of war.
Can't wait to tell Babylon no war. But in the meantime, I'm just here to connect you, to be your friend, to be a twig that possess fruits.
Getty, come on.
It's true that this shit is rigged, but check this view, the mind is school. You're blessed with tools and
You can live.
through any movement to prove that as you're in the truth, you can live. When you do it,
Ultra, my brother, big up your chest. This is word to the wise, it's Elijah.
Every man is born equal. Power
To the people.
good over
Evil.
I could have made the medicine
Hey, hey, hey.
Every man is born equal.
Every man and woman. More power.
It's good over evil. I could have made the medicine illegal.
All right, you got a minute of this and then the show starts. 47 seconds to be precise. Let's go, man. Hey.
AOD, Lance of Defiance, Elijah Moore,
Talking don't make no sense. Don't make no make no sense.
With your politics, you can't fix no tension. Can't insult
My intelligence
so much evidence
of your negligence,
Bow at your feet,
Mr. President.
From me unify, you know the hands can beat the elephant. Back when I could have cop a bottle,
Or buy beers
bopping with a busted air bubble.
in my night kids.
Harsh times on the dark side.
I couldn't cry tears.
Full of Abbey waiting for my share for light years. Don't come to my estate, you might die there. When it's over on the spot, they think we're cooking up the white there. Hoodied up, we learn to bully blocks and never fight. We don't flinch at violence.
All right, that's enough of them exclusives and that. Oh, go on, Poppy. Oh, go on. Yeah, I need to give my mirror, my screen a little wipe. I reckon my camera. But let me just hold on a second. Hold on a second. Let me just sort this out real quick. Happy Sunday though, family man. Hope everyone's good. We in the building. Been an alright weekend. I can't complain. You know. I can't complain, man. We got Sniper. Had a good time with Sniper and the family. That was lively, man. Ain't been out in a while, so that felt good to just socialize with the squad. If you weren't there, it's not my fault. But I got some good stuff for us to talk about today, man. So, liquid breakfast, you know. All right, we good. Did all you lot get a notification then? Yeah, I'm taking it. You all got your notifications. It's snowing in Battersea, yo. It was blitz. I took the dog out this morning for a walk, and it was so fucking cold. And my dog nearly got sexed as well. So it was some little like cocker spaniel kind of dog trying to sex Jada, man. Jada was slyly having it. Got his little pink willy out, everything, man. Horrible. Yeah, wrap up warm if you're getting out there. It is cold. It's snowing, yeah? Old tight Veli, old tight 6'4", Trillo G, Wagwan. Heathen, Wagwan. You're definitely first in the building, Heathen. Rika Badders. Wagwan. I'm just looking through. Big up Real AB 6555. Jada, no, she's not getting hers. You're not getting hers. Yeah. Wagwan, Jada, what are you saying? Huh? Yeah, Jada's not getting nothing. Not on my watch. All right, man. All right. So, is that how it's spelled? It's not how it's spelled. All right, so I need some people to jump on because I've got a subject that I want to get into. You can see the title, right? I think it'll be a good Sunday chat. So, awaiting wisdom. I'm going to invite you on first, yeah, because I just will. Veli, jump on. Let me have a chat with you, man. And this is a subject that I think you can give a quick insight. I know that you like to chill out on the weekends, but if you could come through, you get me? Give me 5-10 minutes of your time. That'd be sick. Oh yeah, it's raining out here. It's snowing out here. Yo, all right, cool. So what are we saying? Let me have a mint tea and that first. Just woke up. The light is distracting. Distracted from what? Wendy, come, let me talk to you, please. Jump on. I need to talk to a Wendy Woo this morning. Just like real quick. Yeah. Proper big. Yo, the snow is actually settling out here, you know? Like it's setting in on my window ledge a little bit, it seems. Ah, shit. Well, it's a good day to be live streaming, I suppose, indoors. Right. I ain't gonna start until I get some panelists. I want to talk to you guys about something, right? So I need somebody to jump on. Ultra, are you outside? You inside? Can you jump on? Natty Dread, Mary Jen, big up Mary Jen. Big up all the green gang, man. Seeing all your names in green, man. If you want to join the Trilluminati, become Trilluminated, then for as little as £1 a week, you can join and support me and support the channel and get access to exclusive content. I've got something being edited today that's going to be going up hopefully this evening. And yeah, big up Och. Och, can I see the baby's hand? What's that on? Can I see baby's hand? Can I see baby Och's hand? Yeah. No, he's gonna hook it. You're gonna hook that up.
Hold on.
Ended.
Big up Steps. Yo, Steps, jump on, please. Fuck. I was gonna say fuck Obasaxi. Big up Obasaxi. Wagwan. Lost Epilogues. Big up your chest. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at REDPILLTRILL. Follow me now. You can follow me now on TikTok, REDPILLTRILL. I haven't even used it yet. You can follow me on Twitter, REDPILLTRILL. I'm on Reddit, REDPILLTRILL. I'm on BitChute, REDPILLTRILL. I'm on YouTube, REDPILLTRILL, and Jedi Online, and obviously this channel here. Yes, so get in contact with me, but definitely hit up the Insta. Yeah, and show me some love on the TikTok. Let me see what I'm going over on them sides there. I've joined the crazy Chinese spy app. Yeah.
Oh God, happy morning.
Yeah, man. Happy New Day, family.
Greetings and salutations, brother Red Pill.
Hey, Ouch, man. What are you doing today anyway? What's the plan? You're not getting nowhere. I know you're not.
No, I'm not gonna lie to you. I just looked, bro. The thing is settling on my balcony.
It's settling, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's a bit of a matter. So I'm gonna stay in today, and then I'm not gonna lie to you. The plan was to fuck you maybe Friday for some cake.
Yeah. I got cake waiting for you as well. Pause.
Yeah. Yo.
Yeah, no, I made a fresh batch. I'm not even gonna lie, fam. Lemon drizzle.
Yeah, that's
banging.
You think about
Banging. So,
right,
I want to play something for you. Big up Street Struck. Oh, Copper Skin West India, my G. Walk on them. You gotta start hitting me up more, man. The hell. Big up, man. You've been down with the homie for time. Big ups to you, sir. Do you know what I mean? Big ups to you.
Wait. Has he been to the motive?
Say that again?
Has he been to the motive?
No, he's not been to
He's done it.
Nah. Yeah, melanated and Western are two different people, you mug. You've just clocked. Are you serious? Yeah, melanated is my voice crush, and Western is my ADHD sister. I say she's ADHD because she sounds like, yo, what's good, Jedi? Yeah, I'm in Birmingham. So that's how she sounds. She's gonna hate me for that. What's good, Jedi? I'm in Birmingham. Like, why are you starting?
So who do you think? She sounds like Ezra, yeah?
Ezra the little demon. Ezra's the underlord. Right. Oh, let me play this. I got something I want some of you lot's advice on. I don't know. Veli said he'll come on. Wendy Wu, I asked her to come on, but I think she's got to ask for Jupiter's permission. You get me? Wendy, you're turning into a real side chick, you know. Don't be a side chick, Wendy, man. Yeah, that's the video I wanted. There's the video I wanted. You hear me, Wendy? Don't be Jupiter's side chick, you know.
Man.
Hold on. Okay. Yo, Ultra, you there?
Say good morning, Jedi.
Morning. Morning, baby.
I got headset. That was Mrs. Ultra.
Oh, hi, Mrs. Ultra. Long time no speak. Hope you're good. Congratulations, you done well. We've only got 2 more to go, okay?
Morning,
2
Mrs.
more to our target, yeah?
He hates you. Doesn't like the clothes you wear. He thinks you can't.
Shut up, man. Shut up. No, Mrs. Ultra, we got 2 more to our target, yeah?
Hold on. Look at your speaker. Hold on.
Are you telling her? Oh, gosh.
Speaker.
Ultra. I said, yeah, Mrs. Ultra, we've got 2 more to our target. So just keep pushing them out, yeah? Ultra's up for it.
Yeah. I'm really not.
Come on. Listen, quitting is for losers, Ultra.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'll take the L. You got 4 now. It's long. Trust me.
2 more, bro. 2 more. You're good.
We're talking about babies.
No. She said no.
Yeah,
one more.
Yeah, but you can carry them.
No, it's long.
Yeah. All right. How you doing, Wendy? Good morning or happy new day, should I say?
Yeah.
How are you?
Happy new day.
Yeah,
the way to get me on is to say I need someone's permission. That's
that'll
get me on.
I'm slick, right? I knew that would work. Listen, this is really, really important. Hope you've had a good weekend, everyone. You may or may not have seen what I'm about to show you. I'm going to play it, then I'm going to make my opening statement, and then I want you lot to tell me what you think, right? So here we go. Recognize him? Wendy, you seen him yet?
No.
No? Ultra, you recognize this dude?
No, who's that?
Well, you wouldn't know him, but he's now become internet famous, I suppose. So let's hear what he's got to say, right?
Oh, okay.
White man. Still white. With ginger bits. And they want me to take advice from this packy called Pretty Patel and the chocolate man next to her. Now, as a white man, I won't be listening to people of colour because they're no good in positions of power. A black man's place is under a white man, and Packy should stick to raping children in Rotherham, not telling me what I can and can't do on an evening. So yeah, fuck the Packies and the blacks.
Right, so my opening statement is, my prefix is, on the internet, on Instagram, this video has been posted up. I'm going through the comments about it, and there's talk about legal action, police should be getting involved. There's talks about murdering him, beating him up, and just general kind of conversation like that. So I've written in that chat, freedom of speech. And now I'm getting a barrage of people replying back to me as we speak with all their ideas and their concepts. So my question to you is, should this man and people like this man be allowed to express themselves without fear of legal action or violence? There you go.
But isn't there already laws, Jedi, about that kind of talk?
I don't know. I mean, Is it illegal to say, forgive me everyone, I'm not doing the P word and N word today, I ain't got no tolerance for it. Is it illegal to say Paki? Is it illegal to say a black man's place is under a white man? Is that illegal? Should we be calling the police? Is this a legal matter?
No, I wouldn't call the police. No.
Okay.
I guess it's better to know what people are thinking, really. But he's certainly one of those real and true racists.
Should he be beaten up? Should we be beating him up? Should we be finding him and giving him?
No. If anything should be happening to him, it should be down the legal road. But I don't believe in violence. But then again, if you're walking down the street, Jedi, and you see him, how you react is up to you, love. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I get that. Ultra, anything to say, man?
Yeah. If I'm honest with you, I'll tell you where I am with this. I now know exactly how this guy feels. Right? The fact that it's out in public means that it can be challenged. If this guy was like, hate niggas, hate packies behind the scenes, and I'm sharing, he's a work colleague or fucking, he works in the bank or whatever, or some sort of position of authority, that type of thing, oppress, that kind of attitude will, yes, it will it oppress us? Yes. However, I'm kind of glad his views have now been made public because the debate can be had, and if I'm honest with you, the violence thing, I'm not really down for it unless you're protecting yourself or your family. But the fact that it's now out there in the open means we can move to this guy and say, all right, like, society is against what you're saying as a whole, I believe, and there can be consequences to his actions. Like, for me, I'm very much like, don't just go and punch someone in the face, right? Just because you don't like them. I'm very much like a type of spiteful cunt. Like, if I wanted to hurt a guy, I would delete all his save data on whatever console he's got. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah, like, really fucking thing them. And this guy now, chances are he's going to get the Dominic Soler treatment. He's going to get hounded wherever he goes. If he brings his workplace into disrepute,
he's been sacked. He's been sacked.
Well, you see, and this is the thing. And this is the thing. Hopefully now you learn his lesson. Hopefully you learn his lesson. Yeah, but it's a kind of double-edged sword because it's like, fuck, this nasty sack of shit. But now we know exactly how he feels, and I think I feel like, yeah, even though nobody wants to hear it, it's a good thing. And now that it's in public on social media, the debate can be had. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So he worked for Polo Pucks FC. He was a manager. And Polo Pucks FC can announce Jake Henderson has been relieved of his managerial duties. We would like to assure everyone that his views is in no way represent our club. Nice. And would like to thank everyone who brought this to our attention. I've also got his address, which I won't be reading out. What I will say that he lives in Retford, England.
Yeah, also as well. See, that's what I'm saying, Jed. If you bring your company into disrepute, you're losing your job. Right. And if he's a manager at a football club, he's probably on a decent wage. And now going forward, he can't get another job in sport. Like, companies are going to be reluctant to hire him. He's going on to benefits, bro. He's going on to £45 a week benefits, bro. So imagine going from a well-paid job to £45 a week.
Isn't this why we should support the freedom of expression of everyone so that we can know how they feel and what they think, so that we can get them out of managerial jobs? Because if he kept his mouth closed, he would have that attitude, probably racism affecting things in the club, people that wanted to maybe join the team or whatever, and we'd never be able to get him out. We wouldn't be able to prove he was racist if he doesn't say it.
Do me a favor, can you Google the football club and see if they got any ethnic players? Bro,
Right, Taylor.
Yo,
Big
bro.
Taylor, welcome, bro.
Yeah, man. Long time no see, Jedi, man.
Long
Everything good,
time,
bro?
King. You good?
Yeah, bro.
Do you
Yeah,
want
man.
me
Yeah,
to play
man.
the video for you again, or did you hear what you said?
Nah, I've heard it, bro. I've seen it a few
You've
times
seen it,
still.
all right, cool. So talk to me. Violence, criminal legal action, or something in between, or what? What are you saying? How do you deal with this? How should we
Well,
deal
I
with this?
was hearing what man is saying, as in, I'm glad that he's exposed his own self. There's a million, if not a billion, people out there, Jedi, that feel just like him, bro, and they have to keep it in the chest. You get me? So for him to come out now, he's just he's exposing something that we already know about anyway. There's been guys like that been holding that shit down for the longest time, and really they're coming like Hitler. That they can't stand nothing but white, but then they'll be all right, mate, in the workplace. All right, buddy, don't help you with that. And them times they can't stand you, bro.
Yeah.
Get me? So when I see it, obviously it's mixed emotions. Like if I actually seen him on road, I would look to do him something. But on the exposure thing, I'm glad he exposed his own ass, man. That's what I say, bro.
So wait, so let me ask you something. Wait. What are you saying? Because I'm in full. Please don't think I'm a black man here, because I'm really not. You get me? I'm a host of a show. I'm not black. So let me, you know what? Let me. Yeah, please don't ever think. So what are you telling me? That this guy expresses his view from the comfort of his armchair, in the embrace of his missus, onto his social media account. We get hold of the video, and now we have a license to enact violence on him when we see him. Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is, yeah, I'm not speaking for me personally or for anyone. You know what I mean? I'm saying that if he did get punched up, it could be a good thing still. You get me? Like, it could be a good thing. But as far as it goes, I'd rather him get his whole shit ruined, him get evicted by his landlord and all his neighbors, then stop dealing with him, rather than a man punched him.
He'll never get in. He'll find it very hard to get employment again, I think.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the ramifications of what he's done to himself, I feel like could burn him more than me bursting his nose if I seen him. You get me?
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, and
do you know what will hurt him more? If you see him on the road, rather than punch him, just say, "Oh, how's your job?" Oh, and then
yeah.
Oh, fucking hell. Because I'm not gonna lie, I can only judge it by my own standards, yeah. But if I said something that I believed and or mean, and people didn't like it, and I got boxed in the face, that wouldn't change my view. All that does is that's just self gratification to make yourself feel better. But if I'm saying something and I'm standing on it, and you box me in the face, fine, my face is boxed, my jawline got moved to the left, but I'm still gonna stand on it. Do you see what I'm saying? So I would, like I'm saying, if you want to hurt a guy, you need to be meticulous. Right? Oh, how's your job? Oh yeah. Do you want to do you know what I'm saying? And then bop off. Don't even have to say nothing to him.
All right. Should he be stopped from repeating himself if he wants to repeat more statements like this? If he wants to make more statements like this, should he be stopped?
I don't think so. You know, as much as what he's saying ain't nice, yeah. Because not everyone's sensitive to that anyway. Kinfolk, Indians, Pakistanis, blacks, enough people let it go over their head anyway. So in that sense, I would have said, yeah, let people like him expose themselves left, right, and center, bro. Listen to this. We already know, yeah. Kinfolk already know guys like that exist. We've been dealing with them since creation. Like I said, but someone hold it down. So for these men who get kind of cocky enough to put it out there, let them continue, bro. We need to know who they are. That's what I think anyway.
What do you think, Wendy? Do you agree? I think you kind of said something similar.
Yeah, it's best to know what he's thinking. Therefore, like I said, he won't get employed again. You know.
So keep his social media. You think he should keep his social media? Be allowed on social media or banned?
No, let him spew his hate. Let him spew his racist hate. And that way, he'll be the master of his own downfall, won't he?
So can I ask you, honestly, how did you feel about the situation with the grime artist Wiley? Don't know if you remember. He said some comments about.
Oh, you mean when he went on about Jewish people?
Yeah.
My own personal was a over the top the way the media went on and everything else. To be honest,
okay.
I never understood it. To me, he just
Yeah,
said a few things. He was an angry man.
Jedi, it's a racial unbiased that though, if that's even the right words what I use here, because man can't mention Jews and feel like they can get away publicly like that. But they've always been able to mention us and we're supposed to just fan it off and get the chip off his shoulder. Do you know what I mean? So in a sense, while he'd always get cancelled, you'd get cancelled, Jedi, if you started talking some loose shit, bro. Do you get me? That's unfortunately the world what we live in, man, because they control the motherfucking shit.
Well, if you put what Wiley said and what that guy just said together, which has the most hatred in it? Well,
clearly,
I know.
Yeah.
Clearly, the one, the little ginger boy, what the ginger boy said.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
You get me?
I mean, a lot of people are calling for the police to get involved, and oh man, I don't know if I'm weird or what, but I just don't see the need for it. I just don't see what you're going to arrest him for. He said hateful words. What? Like, yeah. I mean, are you not allowed to believe that the black man is shit? Are you not allowed to believe that Asian people are shit? That you don't like Asian? Are you not allowed to think that? Is that where we've come to?
To be fair,
well, I think it's more than thinking, Jedi. I think it's more than thinking. I do believe this guy has real hatred. Deep down hatred.
What's he done? He's expressing himself. Hatred or not.
He was triggered by Priti Patel. I mean, because she's Indian. Or yeah.
Yeah, she's Indian, and he's talking about Paki. So he's obviously
exactly. He's an idiot. He doesn't know the difference between a Pakistani and an Indian.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that. Now I held my breath. I held my breath just then. I held my breath. Please. you made it through that.
You got to educate him.
It was a minefield for you. Good. You gotta laugh, man. You gotta laugh. You know, because look,
this is the thing today.
I had an Asian man on the other day.
Fucking prick, bro.
I had an Asian
prick.
Who's that?
Ultra. Sorry, bro.
Oh, right. I had an Asian man on it the other day.
Yeah.
Doing all the Pakis. Paki this, Paki that, Paki like me, Paki. He was rinsing it. Now we've got a ginger man saying Paki, and people are calling for him to be beaten up and shot in the streets and laid out stiff, and we need to get him arrested and he should be in jail. I don't know, man. I know I don't agree with none of his sentiments, none of them. But I also know that I don't want to see a man go into jail for saying how he feels. That is, I am not interested in anyone going to jail for saying how they feel, especially if we can have on daytime TV, quote unquote, pedosexuals expressing their attraction to children.
Facts.
And it's fine.
Facts. Fucking facts.
I don't fucking get it.
You're right, man. You're right.
I'm so confused. Right, awaiting wisdom. What's good, bro? Finally got you back on. Welcome.
Morning, panel. This is a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just say that because how is it still on the internet? You know, I posted some stuff recently that was from the words of Bill Gates, etc., not my narration. Right. And I got threatened with having my channel closed down and got a strike.
Exactly.
And yet you can have somebody like this getting posted, and here we are on a Sunday morning talking about it. Two questions come to my mind. Of course, loads of people think like him. It's an embarrassment, but they're there. And there are people on the opposite side of the fence as well, right? Now, I don't want to, I don't sit on either side of it. I really couldn't give a damn, but, some would say that's my white privilege. But the fact of the matter is I hear similar sentiments coming from people of color, black people, Asians, about white people. I hear a lot of hate spewed towards white. I grew up, you know, I'm a child of the 60s, grew up in the 70s and 80s, first generation immigrants. My parents, Italian, Irish, came here to make a living. The neighborhood I grew up in was purely immigrants, but we didn't really know that at the time, because we weren't, the only time we mixed with English people was at school. Now I'm English and proud to be English because this is where I'm born. What am I going to say? I'm ashamed. There is stuff in history. I put up a video on Winston Churchill because I know the history of this country, but this is where I am. And I think, you know, our generation onwards has changed. But this video seems to, yeah, I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist. I don't know. How is it allowed to float around? There are already hate crime laws in place. So the question of whether he should be prosecuted is almost mute. People have said less and been prosecuted. If somebody questions the Holocaust, they're immediately prosecuted now. So there's something nefarious behind this, because he doesn't look that bright, but he can't be that stupid not to realise the impact. You know, some guy up north flew a banner from a plane about all lives matter and lost his job. Funny enough, at a football club as well. What is it with these football clubs? I don't know. I'm a bit sus of this. Something doesn't smell right.
Behind most of these things, man. Behind most of these things that happen, man. Like a simple-minded guy can see that narratives are getting pushed. Yeah, that's simple and plain to see, bro. Like it's clear like the window up, like in your house. You look through that. But
yeah, truly,
it's about fucking what we can do to combat that. So, all right then, in a sense, to punch up that ginger guy for saying what he said. In a way, you're going with the narrative that they're pushing. Yeah. For us to even hear now and be on a divide thing and be like, well, Mary Jen's white over there. So where are they supposed to push this thing against her? Like it's, you know, like us against them kind of thing. When really, it's not that. Even though there is millions of them people, because I come on the show in the first place saying, yeah, man, there's millions of guys like this, but they have to keep it in the chest. But for man to let it out and put it out nationally, internationally, probably right now. It's like, right, who's actually controlling this narrative and letting it out there like that to us? Get me?
Yeah, 100. It's, for me, it feels like a divide and conquer.
Poster boy, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, man. But they seem to do a lot of that, bro. I'm not cutting you, bro, but I feel like there's poster boys for all of them narratives that get pushed on us. Yeah. All of them, bro. Serious. Without even making it like it's a conspiracy theory. I didn't believe in conspiracies.
No, there is, lad. There is. There definitely is. I say just go and talk to him. All these people who want to go and fight him, just go and talk to him. I knew people who used to talk like that. I've said it before, in Speak in Liverpool. Like, I remember one of the first black families, they were Nigerian, and they moved in at the back of me mate in Speak. Now, Speak was just white, just full on white. And everyone was like, they're going to come here, they're going to smell, all that sort of stuff. After about 2 weeks, no one was saying nothing, because you went to work, they come home, that's it. You know, they were just normal, and people were expecting some alien or something. I don't know what they were expecting, but it just lasted a couple of weeks. They never got terrored out the house or anything like that. It's just, some people who don't see any of this have got to have it rubbed in the nose, you know, like when you're trying to train a dog, you know what I mean? Sometimes you got to rub its nose in its shit to realise that you don't shit there. Do you know what I mean? And just putting them in the back burner isn't going to do nothing except then create. Because I think his beard looked like she was slapping him then, but then you're just going to create. I think you're going to create for every one of him. You'll create 3 if he loses his job. If he gets battered, you probably create another 4 or 5. You know, it's not how you go about it. And like people are saying, that seems to be the play, doesn't it? You know, they're letting this video run for a reason. In my opinion, anyway. Like,
do you know what the funny thing is, bro? He apparently he's a manager of a football club, right? And in my mind, there's this whole campaign about racism in football, taking the knee, blah 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 blah. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, like, what are you thinking? I can't understand what is going on in his mind, right? And I think, Jedi, if you can, just put the name of the football club in the back chat. I'm going to find out, have they got ethnic players? Has he got ethnic players?
No, it's an all-white team from what I saw.
You see, now this is the thing. Where that team is stationed in England,
Retford.
are there any ethnic players like trying to apply for the club and been rejected? And
I don't even know where. Anyone know where Retford is? RETFORD.
Retford.
I don't think it really matters. You'll still get people that are racist, and they'll put the black person in the team.
If it is, if I'm thinking it's Nottingham, bro. If it's Nottingham, there's bare black people and Asians in Nottingham.
Yeah, football manager or not, man. If he was a football manager and he feels that the black player, there's stereotypes of certain black players in certain positions as well. If he feels that the black player is going to be beneficial, he might put them on. So I don't feel like because he's a manager, his perspective will then change. You know what I'm saying it's just coincidence that he likes football, and we've seen it in football as well. We've seen managers come out and make racial comments as well. So it's not. It's just the nature of the person. But I agree with what Heven's saying though. He's spot on. At the end of the day, if you were to touch him, do anything to him, it will just create more and more of that. But
so Reggie, would you feel like he should stay on social media to post more things like that, or what do you? How do you
say it again? The last part.
How should he be dealt with, in your opinion?
Well, they can't allow this kind of speech to go unchecked on social media. So definitely, the media giants are going to clamp down on such speech. So he's going to be deplatformed. But that just like with Wiley, the owners of the company have the right to censor them if they feel it's bad for their business, which it is. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, the employer is another thing. The employer as well, same. They have a decision to make, right? If they feel it's going to be bad for their business, if it's
no, they fired him, Reg. They fired him. Right? They fired him.
There you go. Because they feel as if they won't get as many customers because they have these kind of people with these kind of opinions. People will boycott them. You know what I'm saying? So, I personally, I think that's enough. And then hopefully he'll come across someone that will educate him better and teach him the error of his ways. You know what I'm saying? But it's a tricky, it's a slippery slope if you just punish people off the back of what they say, in terms of like criminal action or even civil action. It's a slippery slope. There are some cases where it might be more appropriate. Obviously, if you're being violent as well, as well as verbally abusive, then you're gonna have to go the criminal route, and it'll be taken into account what you said. But in this kind of narrative, I'm not too sure if that criminal action is appropriate or even civil.
What are the woke brigade saying about this?
I'm going to be in the chat here, broski. Peace. Yeah.
What are
the woke brigade? Because this feeds right into the sort of leftist woke agenda. This is the first I've seen of this that you've played it, Jedi. I'm just curious that what they're saying on Twitter, because I'd imagine the voice is saying to hang him up.
I don't know about Twitter, but I know on Instagram where I found this. I'm going to read you some of the comments soon, yeah? Just letting my phone charge a bit. But, it's if I'm honest with you, I feel a zero tolerance coming from the people. I don't know about the left and that, but I mean, we are being trained into being intolerant to other people's opinions and views if they don't fit in this mainstream framework of what is acceptable. And a lot of the stuff I say would be deemed unacceptable, and I'm afraid because I like to speak my mind. I don't like everyone. I don't like every group, and I don't want to be silenced if I want to speak to myself or others or people with the opposite mindset about how I feel. I don't want to be demonized. I don't want to be punished. I'm not calling for anyone to be hurt. But if we start now, with Jake, this guy, Jake, whatever his name is, right? If we start with Jake, it may end with Jedi for saying that pedophiles, he thinks pedophiles should get the death sentence. Maybe that's a hate speech now. Because
Can
they're
I
telling
challenge
you,
what you're saying, though, Jedi?
wait 1 second, they're telling you, oh, well, pedophiles don't necessarily offend anyone. They just are attracted to, they're not, unless they're active, they're not a problem. So you calling for the death penalty or violence on a pedophile is actually a hate crime because they have their own sexual orientation just like you do. You see the trap?
See, that is the thing, you know. That is the thing. You're right in what you're saying, Jedi. Yeah, you know, almost like the normalizing us to things that is like under the master control. So yeah, you can't even have them feelings in your head no more.
They're turning us into Nazis, in my opinion, because we're so intolerant. I mean, a white man says, "I think black men are underneath us," and the whole world goes fucking crazy. Are we serious?
Yeah.
Would you, Jada? Would I be correct in saying that censorship of this kind of rhetoric is what paved the way for you and I and a lot of other people to be here?
No. To be where?
To be in this country.
No.
So
why? Why did that pay? What? People have their opinions. There's still black people coming to the country.
So if you have a society that keeps saying, okay, black people are you know, violent, immigrants are violent, immigrants will, you know, they shouldn't be at this position, that position. Immigrants will come here and they'll just look how uncivilized they are in their countries. We don't want that kind of
changed? Has any
no,
of that
I'm saying
changed?
if you have a society where people are allowed to
I mean, look, we had Tommy Robinson, a famous leader of sorts, called Somalians, calling Somalis backward savages.
I think people exaggerate the influence or the amount of what's the word, popularity.
It's no exaggeration if I can go anywhere on this land and say his name and someone will know who he is. It's no exaggeration.
Yeah. I've always seen him. I mean, he's not. When I say he's not he's not got a high popularity. I mean, in the sense that he's nowhere near being in Parliament. If you get what I mean, like he's nowhere near.
He doesn't. He may not even need to. If he holds sway over the people, he may not even need to. If he holds sway over the people, I'm not sure this is about being in Parliament or being any. Like I'm just saying, people in society have these views and have done and will do. And if we push them underground, and you're making your job more difficult to highlight them, I just don't feel like we're really observing what we're doing to ourselves by trying to censor people and stop people speaking their mind. We are actually putting shackles and chains and muzzles around ourselves.
Definitely.
Morning,
Good morning, witness. How you doing, brother?
Fine, thank you. Fine.
Good.
Have you seen the video? Too much of your time.
Have you seen the video?
I've seen it before.
I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it just one last time because someone has asked, and then I'm gonna get your views on it if that's okay. Yeah.
Yes, sure.
Cool? Yeah. All right, cool. Let me press play.
White man, still white, with gingivitis, and they want me to take advice from this packy called Pretty Patel and the chocolate man next to her. Now,
I'll be going back in a minute.
I won't be listening to people of colour because they're no good in positions of power. A black man's place is under a white man, and Packies should stick to raping children in Rotherham, not telling me what I can and can't do on an evening. So yeah, fuck the Packies and the blacks.
Well, there you have it. That's Jake, former manager of the Polo Pucks in Retford. So
yeah, big up everyone. Greetings.
Yeah, big up MA. Witness, go in. Tell me what you think.
I was just going to say he has the freedom of speech. He has the freedom to say whatever he wants, and people have the freedom to respond to him however they want to.
However they want to. I want to stab him. I want to stab him, witness. I want to just find Maurice and stab him. Have I got the freedom to do that?
Unfortunately, that is the reality of the world we live in. So you can go to a football match, you can go and sit in the other side, and you can start chanting for the team that they don't like. And you have the freedom to do that. And they have the freedom to look at you and deal with you however they want to.
Right.
That is the reality of the world we live in. He can say what he wants. And in real life, there are repercussions.
Right.
So what I feel is you can't have the freedom to say what you want and then feel like you have the power to manipulate or control how people respond. People can respond to you however they want. You don't know how they're going to respond. That's the reality of the world that we live in. That's the way I see it. So the way he was dealt with, that's repercussions. There are repercussions to everything in life.
Should that be an end to it then? He's lost his job. That's an end to it. Should he have his social media access restricted, removed?
Yes, because when you create an account in social media, it's part of the contract. You have to stick to their community guidelines. Most people don't read the small print, but they stipulate it there. And if you go against it, then they can kick you out. That's why it's going to be difficult in a court of law, because they put it in the contract and you accepted it.
I'm not disputing whether what he said is outside of the guidelines, but these community guidelines can sometimes be vague, and they can sometimes be, because they're vague, they can be sometimes abused and hard to interpret. So they can be very subjective. We've seen a lot of people banned because of the community guidelines. It's
not vague. It's vague if you don't understand it. It's like somebody signing a record contract. They can't get away with saying, well, it was vague. I mean, if the company ends up taking most of your money, you can't then say, well, the contract was vague. No, you didn't understand the contract. Your lawyer didn't point out things in the contract. So if it's in the contract, but it's too vague for you to understand, that's your fault. It's not their fault legally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say anyway, that's probably another topic, but these social media companies as well, they are quite controversial in the way that they're governed and the way that they decide to pick and choose what they want to. They're definitely more in support of a left-wing narrative, let's put it that way, most of them, So they support certain political narratives.
Because even by law, there's no such thing as, the closest you have to freedom of speech is the Human Rights Act, 1998. But even that, within the Human Rights Act, it clearly says, I'm paraphrasing, your rights can be what's the word they use? They use a particular word that's very interesting. Restricted. They can restrict your speech if they feel somehow it's a threat to the interests of national security or public safety. So even the Human Rights Act, when you go deeper into it, it tells you that freedom of expression, freedom of assembly and association can be restricted. So
because
legally,
you see what happened with Donald Trump's account, right? When he finally got thing, and he was quite, some of the things can be misinterpreted. Some of the things you think, okay, this is not really an incitement, but just off the back of what happened, they suddenly restricted the account. But I think I'm going slightly off topic, but I'm just saying that sometimes the social media policies can be quite vague, and they can be.
Do you want to live in a world where a white man is not allowed to say on social media that he thinks black people, black men, their only place is beneath a white man? Do you want to live in a world where a white man is not allowed to make those statements?
You see, the world that I live in, the white man has the freedom and the power to say whatever he wants, even on social media. He might not go around using the N-word or the P-word, but he has other channels and he has other ways of expressing his distaste of people. For example, you have YouTube channels like Millennial Woes, Mark Collette, who's like Patriotic Alternative. I've been watching these guys for years. They have no problem expressing their distaste for non-white people. They just know how to do it without using, the N-word or the P-word. But they talk about the anti-white agenda. They talk about the anti.
Was it the fact he said Paki? Is this what the bad thing is? Because if he never said that and he said Pakistanis or Asian, just like he said black men, he didn't say nigger, would that then make it acceptable?
No, the thing that he used those words, the extreme words, but it wasn't just the words. it was the sentiment that non-white people should be in those positions. And then the fact that he also mentioned a kind of racial power dynamic where non-white people should be under. So that's all of those things were taken into consideration. Of course,
he's not allowed to say that?
No, I never said that. He's allowed to say that. He has the freedom to say that.
That's
What I'm saying is there are repercussions. You have the freedom to say, you can even go to Buckingham Palace with a bullhorn and start screaming that the royal family are pedophiles. You have the freedom to do that. But they also have the freedom to respond to you. So it's like you have to be prepared for the repercussions. You can say what you want, but then be prepared to protect yourself for the repercussions. Don't just go there naively, say what you want, and then think that no one's going to respond back to you. Human beings aren't like that. They will respond. And you have to be ready for that. You can't play the victim when they respond. That's all I'm saying.
Is there anybody here that thinks people that speak like this should not have a voice, should not be allowed to speak in public, should not be able to post? And is there anyone here that thinks that? Anyone here that thinks he should be arrested? The police matter?
No, but I just think that his intent is interesting to look at, because if you see the way he said it, he seemed very blasé, and he seemed like he's got an agenda or objective behind it. So if there's some sort of an agenda to make people feel uncomfortable, then you would say that there needs to be, if the agenda behind it is to make people feel uncomfortable and it does achieve that goal, then it makes sense to curtail this kind of speech. Because
where do we stop? MA, talk to me.
Yes.
I mean, look, man, I'm on Insta, and they're saying, yeah, we need to find him and brack him up. My man needs to get arrested. Oh, he should be thrown in jail. This is disgusting. He should be banned from everything possible. Shouldn't even be allowed WhatsApp. Where do you stand on this?
I've been banned from social media, innit? That when I got banned, I got banned, and then I got I have no access to my account no more, innit? And they asked me to do certain things, and I did them, and they haven't done anything since then. And that was like 2017. So I had to make a whole new thing and whatever. And it's like, that reminded me that the thing is a website, isn't it? It's not water. Huh?
It's not your diary. It's not your personal diary.
Exactly. And people treat it like that. Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, it's not water. It's not air. It's a website. You get me? And when I don't know if you ever watched Michael Zuckerberg, it's in Mark Zuckerberg's Senate address when they were asking him questions about Facebook and privacy and the new, the new currency that man's trying to create and whatever. And it's like, when you watch them things, it really hits home that this, like, we've taken it completely for granted that this thing is like ordained, like we've given it from birth and we've inherited this thing that is going to be with us forever. It's ridiculous. The same way that WhatsApp this week or whatever last week or whatever part of the message, and everyone started to lose their shit and remember that it's just an app and it's not, you know what I'm saying, something that is ordained to be part of our lives forever. I think that's for me, that's where like I'm not calling for no bans on nobody, innit? Because I'm just like, well, let me remove myself from that thing. And if it's a case of like I'm feeling oppressed by some of these words or whatever, I remove myself from the context, or I try to find a way to have autonomy so that the things that are being said don't affect me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ultimately, well, if we're talking free speech, real free speech, then your teacher can call you a nigger in school.
Oh, okay. No, I mean, that's a bit. Yeah, that's a fucking excellent one there. That's an excellent one. Freedom of speech to call someone a nigger in school. Nah, that's a fucking day. You got me there, bro. That's a good one. Yeah. Shit.
But that's
man, that's a deep one, bro.
But isn't that about autonomy, innit? Like, we're not in charge of our
right. Yes. That's what my head's thinking. My head's thinking, well, maybe so, but there's all the more reason why my child shouldn't be in your school.
Exactly.
I can't with good faith and with intellectual honesty say freedom of speech should extend to to a school. I don't think I can say that. You know what I mean? I'm tempted to, but I mean, it's ridiculous, right? Like, that's ridiculous. Within a professional setting, no, hold on, no. Within a professional setting, there is no freedom of speech because you have to work within the framework of your profession, right? So there's no, you can't do that you can't have freedom of speech while you're working as a police officer or while you are being a judge or a nurse or a childminder or a teacher. Freedom of speech is for when you take your uniform off. I believe if you want to see my child in the street when you're off duty and call my child a nigger, then you got the right to do so. You know what I mean? Will I be bringing my child back there or will I be coming back there to not harm you? I can't promise that. But you could do that in the street. That's great.
Can we argue that everyone has always had freedom of speech? Like it's never been.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, Emmy. What you were just saying. You have the freedom to say what you want, and people have the freedom to respond however they want. You've always had that freedom.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Morning. I would like to argue the opposite and say no one's ever had freedom of speech, and we don't have freedom of speech. And being on these panels for the last 2 years or whatever it is, no one's ever really stated that what we actually have is freedom of the press. And the press is supposed to be one of the checks and balances that keeps the people in power kind of like responsible. That's the whole point. The point ain't so people like Raj can go up to Speaker's Corner and talk about bullshit. That's not what freedom of speech is about. It's not about people abusing each other. Because if we're talking about abuse, the P word, the N word, they're not banned because we don't like them. They're not banned because of any other reason than they have this supremacist connection due to historical instances, like Paki bashing, for example. Yeah. Otherwise, the word Paki wouldn't actually be a problem. If it wasn't for slavery or whatever's happened in the past, the N-word wouldn't have any resonance with anyone. So it's not the word itself that we should be worrying about, but it's the message that he's putting across. And his message is clearly a supremacist agenda, a supremacist ideology. For that alone, yeah, I personally believe he shouldn't have a platform. He shouldn't be afforded a platform, in my opinion.
He shouldn't be.
Yeah, shouldn't be.
Why? Because he says something you don't agree with.
Ain't that I don't agree with it, is that this society deems it, yeah, if anything, illegal. It's actually illegal to say the things that he's saying. If he's skirting around it, using pretty words.
Can't. Walk with me. Let me fire a few questions at you specifically, yeah? So, okay, did you hear what you've heard everything he said, yeah?
Yeah.
Right. So, all right, just I'm just gonna run through some of these things. Priti Patel is a Paki.
All right.
Is that illegal to say? Do you think that's illegal?
She's not a Paki though, is she?
Well, is anybody a Paki?
Well, no, actually. But what I'm saying is he's being deliberately offensive to a non-Pakistani person by referring to them as a Paki because he knows that they hate Pakis.
Is it illegal to be offensive? Is it illegal to?
No.
So
I've just made that point.
That part it is. It actually is.
No, but he means in general. Is it offensive in general?
I mean, and that's what I'm saying. There is a law, the Public Order Act 1986, Part 3, discusses racial hatred, and in there it says a person who uses threatening, abusive, or insulting words or behaviors, or displays any written material which is threatening, abusive, or insulting.
Slow down. One second, witness.
Sure.
What? Okay. So we saying that calling Priti Patel sorry, I'm gonna keep the word, a Paki is offensive and abusive. Is that what? It's abusive?
It's inciting racial hatred.
As I was going to say, in regards to the question you asked, legally it could fall under the law of the Public Order Act 1986, Part 3, which deals with racial hatred. It could fall under that, you know.
Okay, all right. So, like I said, I think my statement is: if he never used the word Paki, his whole commentary would be above the law.
No,
but this was where I then said to you that his whole comment, if he removed those words, his comment could still be deemed to contribute to go against the community guidelines. And so the community, which is, I can't remember which social media it was, could then say, well, actually, the framework of your language goes against our community guidelines.
Okay, that's on the social network. But in real life, this guy recording a video and he's posted it to his website, yeah? And he says, Priti Patel is a stupid Asian woman and he doesn't think non-white people should be in positions of power in England. That in itself is, there's nothing wrong with that statement. Do you agree or disagree? Like, I
mean, she's not fit. She's not fit to be in a position where she's senior to a white person. You're saying that there's no problem with that?
Yeah.
No, I don't agree with you.
Sorry, when I say I agree, I mean he has the freedom to say it,
right?
But he also has the freedom to deal with the repercussions of what he said.
Cool. All right, cool. We're going to get to that. But I'm saying on a legal basis or whatever, I don't really have an issue with him saying these things. Like me personally, innit, yeah?
Can I understand? Try to understand witness, because I don't want us to be saying the same thing.
No, we're on the same track. We're on the same track. He's just saying, like, you can say what you want, as long as he's, like, he was talking about social media guidelines. So it's clearly gone against the guidelines. I then took it to his personal website, so to give the guy more freedom to say what he wants. Right, so we're taking away the P word, because the P word may come under a list of words that somehow are legal to say. Yeah? Unless you're Asian, then you can say Paki all day. Unless you're saying it in some kind of context like I am, then you can say Paki all day. But if I want to call an Asian person a Paki, then that is now offensive and illegal. That's where we're on the same page, right?
What I'm asking is, when we say somebody's free to do something,
oh my God,
are we also saying they're free to break the law as long as they face the repercussions of the law?
Bro, one second. There's no. I'm trying to establish whether, like, I just said all that talking.
I'm just saying no to that though. I just don't want to come at you with a straight no though.
Why?
All right, no
give
then.
Give me a no, man.
Is that what you want? Straight no then, innit?
Okay, so the next part he says is, a black man's place is underneath a white man. He sounded kind of homo when he said it, but I know he's talking about class.
Homo to me as well.
Yeah, he's talking about class and power and status. Yeah, so I'm saying if that's how he feels, why should he not be able to express that? I don't get it. Like, maybe I'm dumb. My black brothers, my white brothers, sisters, maybe you lot could explain to me why a white man should not be allowed to say that. Why should he be penalized? I mean, as in legally, I don't think he should be arrested or anything. If his employers don't want a man that says that representing their company, that's fake news.
Jedi, I think I'm trying to I'm trying to understand what you're saying here. Let me.
I'm trying to say here. I'm trying to say.
I'm getting it.
Go on. I'm seeing an intolerant.
I'm a foreigner. Oh. He's born here. His family were here 200-300 years before mine.
Yeah.
He counts himself as British. He counts me as a foreigner. I'm a different color than him.
Right.
Yeah. Right. He still can't say what he's saying because being British, his color's got nothing to do with it. Yeah. How long you been here ain't nothing to do with your rights and your standing and the invitation that we received to come here. We weren't told come here and be second-class citizens or come here and the white ones are going to be above the black one. That your color's got nothing to do with it, bro. Yeah, you're English or you're British or whatever. But you having a different color than me, don't think the government's on your side. The government's not on your side because you're saying these things. Like, it doesn't make sense. This is an assumption based on supremacist ideology that goes back to the empire. But this ain't the empire.
All right,
he ain't
look,
no better than me for
under the Public Order Act,
racial hatred
under the Public Order Act 1986 and Equality Act 2010, people have been persecuted for using the word foreigner. In contrast, the courts have failed to prosecute people for using the P word. Now, I'm saying that this is a real danger to our society, to my freedom, my liberty. Fuck the racist ginger guy, me. Yeah? I don't want to live in a society where people face criminal actions for using words like foreigner. I don't give a fuck what context it's in. You dirty, stinking, smelly, nasty foreigner. I don't want you arrested for calling me that.
Well, unfortunately, your sentiment isn't in line with the thinking of the government. So
but is the
that's just giving
government?
you one
I
small
want to know
point.
whether the government's in line with the thinking of the people. Us.
I'll say this to you, Jedi.
I'll say the majority.
It's interesting the opinion you've given, but you're living in the wrong country if you want to say that. This country for centuries has always had laws regarding speech. Like back in the days of the feudal kings, you couldn't start saying stuff against the aristocracy. That would be regarded as high treason, and you'd be hung or quartered. So I don't know, maybe there was a time, maybe during the time when the Celtic tribes were roaming about, people could say what they want and not have to deal with any legal repercussions. I don't know, but for hundreds of years, there's always been repercussions to words. So legally.
So this guy says, look, perfect example, White Knight says, Jedi, you are a plantation servant. You will always be that. I need you to jump on the panel, White Knight, so we can discuss this because I'm trying to defend your right to say that. I don't want you to be arrested. I don't want anything to stop you saying how you feel. In fact, I want to create an environment where you're so comfortable to say what you feel. You come in with your name, James Green, and you've got a picture of yourself so I can see who you are. In fact, you're so comfortable, you have a video and you show us where you are. Just like Jake was. I want that level of comfortability for people to express how they truly feel. Otherwise, if we didn't have that, people like Jake would not, the former manager of the Pucks, of the Polo Pucks, would still be a manager of a football team and be able to impact others with his racial sentiments. Because he's not going to write this down on his CV. He ain't going to write it down. Go on.
Yeah, no, I completely understand what your intention is with that, because I there's a part of me that still recognizes that that's the only way to form bonds and understanding between people. And I used to be like that. Honestly, I really used to be. Remember when Exhibit B, when that South African white guy put on an exhibit of black people in chains and that in Waterloo in the tunnel. What's it called? At the Barbican. And if you remember, and Niles and that went there and they drummed up and they ran out the gas in it. Don't know if you remember that. Does anyone remember that? The Exhibit B exhibition in League Street.
Yeah. By where all the graffiti is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. At the time, my mentality was different to how it is now. I remember on social media, I was chatting to Courtier, the guy that wrote Lovers Rock, and I was saying, and this is a contrast to how I'm now. I said, clinging on to blackness what did I say? Clinging on to blackness will delay your your genius or something like that. Anyway, something to that effect. My thing was this: I didn't need to go down to Exhibit B to kind of stop man from doing what he's doing. I felt like that conversation was a healthy conversation to have, whether it be good or bad, right? But subsequently, my whole mentality changed because I thought, do you know what? As black people, if you don't want to, if you are in a position of inferiority or being oppressed, and you're surrounded by the media, you're surrounded by triggers, innit? And those triggers, you're not mature enough. You haven't developed a way of swerving or circumnavigating those triggers yet, So it's unfair to expect the people to like just suck it up or develop some kind of thick skin all of a sudden out of nowhere. It's a process, isn't it? And I think during that process, you also need to be able to protect people, until such time that they're not affected by it. So I completely understand where you're coming from, but also I think individual community.
Yeah, but it's like, sorry, bro. It's like when they say like, "Oh, don't swear, there's children here." Well, move your children on.
I agree, but how? When like I said, as black people, we're in this country, innit? How do you move children on when you're surrounded by this stuff?
Good point.
Surrounded by stuff like the North Sea.
I'm gonna throw you a curveball, Jedi.
Please, we need it.
If we're talking about people being able to say what they want and there shouldn't be any repercussions at all.
Yeah.
Would you then advocate for pedophile advocacy organizations to have the freedom to openly discuss making love to children and the benefits of
But they
it?
do though. But they do. This is my issue. They do.
Where
Protected by Twitter. Hold on. They're protected by Twitter and Instagram's terms and conditions.
So you're saying NAMBLA, which is North American Boy Love Association, has the freedom to go on Twitter and talk about... Really?
There's many pedophile groups that can discuss their attraction to children. They can discuss them. They just can't talk about committing crime or rare, but they can talk about being pedosexuals and their natural attraction to children, and they can discuss it. And the terms and conditions are supporting these people. I've got countless friends on social media that have had their accounts struck, taken down for expressing their disgust at these sites. And I mean, legit, like literally said, yo, Instagram, there's a page called my child friend, yeah, and on that page they're discussing their attraction to children, and Instagram is blocking the person that's reporting it, saying that they're committing a hate crime, they're doing this, they're doing that.
That's why I said to you. That's why I said to you earlier. Remember that some of these companies are selective in how they do their thing.
Yeah, but you could still go outside.
Big thing on Twitter. It's been a big thing, running thing for a few months on Twitter. They are literally these pages that, suggest and
yeah. But let me throw something out there as well. Well, there's two things on the front there, but I'll throw the second one out a little bit later on. Yeah, are we saying then that well, ultimately, yeah, what Reggie just said, yeah, is really the key, because it's not equal, isn't it? Like the things that, because this country is run from a certain political perspective, yeah, or multiple perspectives that are kind of leaning towards one side of the political spectrum, yeah, or racial spectrum or whatever. Yeah, it's never going to be equal, isn't it? Like it's never going to be a case that say as Black people, our freedom of speech is changing. And I would argue that it's changing only because the system wants to absorb Black people even further. Right. That's the only reason that it's changing. Right. Yeah? But even with that, it's still imbalanced. Yeah. When you got, like, if you take it away from freedom of speech and think about freedom of kind of just visual expression, yeah. When you see that big LGBTQ flag in your local park, yeah, and you have a problem with it, and you know that the message that's coming with it is coming to indoctrinate your children, yeah. It's the same thing, yeah.
You know there was one in my local park, innit? You know
that's what I'm saying to you, Jedi. That's why I'm saying it to you.
What is this? What they call social engineering? When they cannot manipulate populations through media.
Well, I mean, we manipulating ourselves, because I see the real danger that we are policing ourselves to the extent where the powers that be don't need to do anything now. We are reporting each other, we're censoring each other, and we're becoming so much more intolerant. Let's be real. Nothing that this guy said was groundbreaking. Nothing this guy said was even surprising that there's people that think like this. I wasn't offended by what he said. I wasn't offended.
I was offended.
I gave him no power.
Yeah.
I wasn't offended, for me personally.
When he said F the P words, I was offended.
And what happened to him, you said that what he said was not groundbreaking. True, I agree. And I would then add that what happened to him afterwards was not groundbreaking either.
Right, yeah, I mean, he just got sacked so far. But like I said, people are calling for him to be arrested. Others are calling for him to be physically harmed. Now, I'm not telling you don't beat up a racist. I'm saying, I'm talking with the man them in the chat. And the man them in the comment section are saying, yeah, man, we need to fuck him up. We need to lay him out. I'm saying, okay, why? Oh, because he's a fucking racist. I'm like, yeah, cool. Let me know. Is it your intention to beat up every racist you come across?
Can I put forward something on a technicality? Technically, what he's saying ain't racist though.
Let me get my kind of question, or let me hear what you lot think about the question I asked this guy. Are you planning to beat up every racist you come across? What do you lot think?
Is he racist though? Are we defined it as racism?
No, the guy has.
Well, if he's not being racist, if this guy is not being racist,
then what is racist?
What's the problem? You get me?
All right, cool. If you asked him why he thinks what he thinks, and he said, well, in this country there's a white majority and we're going to maintain that, and these immigrants that have come here always need to know their place, then that takes it out of racism, doesn't it? Because he's basing it on a numbers thing.
I mean, whether it's racist or not, for me personally, just let them say what they want. Yeah, this guy's come in with this. Look, check in the chat. Yeah, fuck the niggers and packies. Right?
That's probably Afghan.
Yeah,
nothing new. So I mean, and this is how I respond. I don't get all up butthurt. I just like, okay, cool. The most I can do is say, all right, I'm gonna time him out to clear because he's spamming my chat. But other than that, does he impact my life? No, he doesn't. Should you report him to the platform owner? Yeah, if he's breaching terms and conditions, I can see why you could report him. Fuck him off. Fuck him off the internet. Fuck him off the site. But for him to be, should this guy now be arrested? Should police be sent to this guy's house? Because what he said is worse than what the ginger guy said. Far worse than what Jake said.
I think what you did was what you spoke of was brilliant. He has the freedom to put that message up, and you have the freedom to respond how you want it. And you mentioned time him out for a bit, so that's it. That's fair. Fair is fair. He does what he wants, and you respond.
In our little community, we've decided we don't want to see messages like that. You get me? Or we don't want to share our space with you because of your language. So you stand outside for a while and maybe come back in when you can adjust your attitude. Simple. No one has to be arrested. No one has to be beaten up.
I'm just saying. We've got the same power that Twitter's got, you're saying?
Say that again?
So we've got, on this panel or on this channel, we've got the same power that Twitter has.
And I think a lot of people have that same power because you press a button and that button is called block. You press that button and the demons go away. You don't see
I personally believe that the internet's not regulated enough. It's a way of people getting out of. My opinion, it's the way of people getting out of the regulations that are being on television. So targeting children for certain things, hate crimes, all these things that go on the internet, right? In my opinion,
do you want more regulation on the net?
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think people should be accountable for what they do, even if they're
how
on the
would
net.
people propose that's done? Like everyone's
how part of it, I haven't got to yet, but I'm saying as a principle, I think everyone should be accountable for everything what comes out of their mouth.
Cool. And everything they type.
Yeah, you're accountable.
Let's be real, bro. Like I know you've had troll accounts before. I don't know. Just listen before you respond. Yeah, I know you had troll accounts before, and I'm sure we've all been in a position to type something basically anonymous. If everything that you've typed and said on the net came back to your doorstep to haunt you, do you think that would be fair? You think that's fair? You think we'd get a fair judgment?
If I was fed this illusion of anonymity and I said whatever I felt like saying, and then it came back on me, then I'll say, yeah, that's unfair. But I don't think that should be the situation. I think it should be that when you come online. Sorry, go ahead.
You don't think no one should be able to be anonymous online? It's basically what you're saying.
Yeah, and I don't think they should be fed that lie either.
What?
Yeah, they shouldn't be told, oh, you're anonymous, and then they go and say some crazy shit, because everyone's got that little Tourette side of them, innit, where they say things to be controversial or stir the pot or whatever it is. Like that's not a reason, innit, for someone to get in trouble. So if someone's got Tourette syndrome and he's walking past me on the street and he starts shouting out, fat, like that, walking past me, I ain't gonna beat him up, innit? But like if I know that he's got Tourette syndrome. But if he hasn't got Tourette syndrome, then that's an issue, innit? I have to deal with that as mocking, innit?
Can I ask you a question?
What I'm saying is, the same offense.
Why are you going to beat him? Hold on. Why are you going to beat him up for calling you fat if you're fat?
I don't give a fuck how fat I am. If you're walking past the street calling me fat, you're going to know about it, bro.
Why? And please don't think I'm mocking. I'm saying with the example you've given me kind of thing, yeah. But I'm just saying, Do you not see where the intolerance is? There's two things I want to hit you up on. One, have you ever considered that the further restriction, policing and censorship of the internet is in fact the desired result or the desired action that they want to take, and they give us these things on the internet to make us cool for it? We need more regulation. It's Hegelian dialectic, is what I'm saying.
Well, I agree with what you're saying. Like red flag.
You can actually censor what is on.
Did you want me to answer?
I'm saying you can actually censor what's on the internet. So there is a solution. Some countries they don't allow certain platforms, or they don't allow certain websites in that country. So it does happen in some countries.
And you want to live like that? Do you want to live like that?
It takes adjustment, but it can happen. I mean,
obviously, it can happen. Do you want to live like that, Reggie?
I think I'll adjust to it. So would I want to? No. At this present day, no. But I'm saying it takes adjustment.
How far do we extend that? How far do we extend this censorship? Let's say, Khan, for example, that I agree with your premise for the sake of this discussion. Where do we then take that control? Do we take that into the supermarket so that discussions at private people are monitored? How far do we take this monitoring of what people are going to think, whether they're allowed to say it or not?
Let me just put forward 2 points here. Number one, the same abuse or the same insulting coming from different people makes a difference. So one person saying it, or a group of people saying it, or a government saying it, or a media outlet endorsing it, all those things are different and should be regulated differently. So if you're making lemonade and giving away 3 cups of lemonade on your doorstep, there's a different level of regulation than if you've got a big plant somewhere churning out like 1 litre bottles of 7-Up. You need to be regulated on a different level, innit? Do you understand?
No doubt.
If poison
However,
in your thing,
if I could just
interject the whole country. That was my point. Yeah, that it's not just the abuse, but it's the power of the person that's saying it that needs to be taken into consideration. Yeah, that's my first point.
I don't disagree. Big platforms, and there are lots of big platforms that have a voice that I disagree with. But in this particular case,
point, which I like to reiterate what I said earlier, that people that want to get things across on the television that haven't been able to do that have found the internet, or YouTube specifically, as a viable option where they can come on here unregulated and basically swerve the government's regulations that have previously been put in place. So if the government now says, okay, we're going to update our regulation to cover YouTube as well, why should anyone even complain? Because that degree of regulation's already been there.
I think that's a slight misdirection you're offering. Whilst I don't disagree with that obviously the regulations on TV were in place, we can agree or disagree with them, and therefore why can't they be on the internet? But most of the people we're talking about on the internet are not huge channels with millions of viewers. So why should individuals, and I take your point that individuals should be dealt with according to their circumstance. You use the making lemonade on your doorstep. But in the broader aspect, what you're talking about is regulating a platform that is predominantly used by people that don't have a big audience at all. And so we want to regulate these people from sharing their views with anyone. That's where I'm uncomfortable. Look, I disagree with everything that Ginger fella said. But, you know, to use the old cliche, I think I'll defend his right to say it, because like the old poem, first they came for the socialists and I did nothing, then they kept, you know, the fact is, where do we stop? These are emotive topics that we've been, BLM was a great example at the start of the COVID. You had a bunch of white middle-class people virtue signaling about Black Lives Matter. Many of them, I'm sure, never really understood what black culture is. And that took a wave of division across the country. And here we are now with another emotive subject that most common sensing thinking people are going to say, well, that's ridiculous. You can't think like that. The difference is, do we allow people to speak like that or not? Because if we shut him down, where do we stop people? And as has been referred to, look at these paedophiles. They've got an absolute freedom. There is, for me, a demoralization of society where everything is topsy-turvy. So we defend someone's right to change their sex and determine that we have to call them by their designated preference, and yet I can't talk about what my views are on race. And yet I come on these panels, and Khan, with the greatest respect, I've never spoke to you, so this isn't a pop, but you're hardly an advocate for the white man, are you? You know, I've heard you talking, and you're
definitely not.
No, and that's my point, and you have the freedom to say that. But as a white man, I might be offended by that, because you're hardly complimentary, and I appreciate your knowledge of your history, etc., and your viewpoint. I'm not here to discuss that, but that might offend me. Should I shut you down from saying that because it hurts my feelings?
But this goes back to the principle that I highlighted, which is depends on whether you're selling lemonade or lemon thingy or 7-Up. You get me? Because when I say something against you, I'm selling lemons on my doorstep. When you say something about me as a minority, you're selling 7-Up. You should be regulated differently than me. And if you don't like that, then that's tough, innit? But there's a lot of things I don't like, innit? We all got to make compromises.
Well, listen,
I still think it's all selective, though. This whole thing is selective. People are arguing that not you guys, but some people are arguing people should say what they want. I'm like, yeah, you can say whatever you want, but you deal with the repercussions. But then people who will push for saying, oh yeah, I can say what I want with racism, fine. Are they going to then advocate for people to go around openly talking about the joys of bestiality and buggering animals? Are they going to advocate for people?
I mean, you should be able to, if that's what you want to do, if you, listen, if it's not about harming somebody, yeah, I think you should be able to say what you want. So if you want to say fire upon Batman or boom bye bye to Batman, I think you should be able to say it as long as it's a sentiment, it's a statement that is not inciting violence. You should be able to say niggas out, Pakis out, Jews out, blah 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 blah. I hate white people smell. White man's the devil. I think all of these statements should be allowed to be said.
Yeah. But why you think that, though? I don't know why you think that.
I should be allowed to say I hate Muslims. I should be allowed to say I think Rastafarianism is a stupid religion and I hate Rastas. I should be able to say that.
Yeah, because you personally have come to the understanding, or the whatever you want to call it, maybe the enlightenment through suffering, that you've decided that, you know what, no one's going to incite me or trigger my emotions, so I'm responsible for myself, innit? So everyone can say what they want. That's not going to trigger me. But when we're talking about population wise, we can see that there is such a thing called incitement, and we shouldn't really make out like it doesn't exist, because it does exist.
All right, but yeah, be more specific.
Go on.
Incitement.
More specific. Brexit. They were influenced into that.
Oh, I don't like people with locks. I think fucking locks are disgusting. Oh my God, you're inciting violence against people with locks. Now fuck that. Like, that's the world we live in right now. If a man says all men with locks should be beneath me, yeah, we're looking to get him arrested and ban him off social media and make it a criminal offense for what he did, or beat him up. And I'm saying, nah. Actually, hold on a minute. Yeah, I've got locks. Yeah, I love my locks. But I don't love my locks more than I love my right to decide I hate locks tomorrow and do a post about it. Or that why can we not say how we feel? This is so scary. It's scary times.
But the thing is, the guy has been allowed to say what he wants to say, and it's up to the media platform to decide what they deem.
Okay, very good point.
He hasn't actually been prosecuted or anything like that. So,
and I said this to an ethno-nationalist I was debating when he was making the same kind of argument that you were making. I said that was a load of rubbish, because if I walked up to him or his daughter or his wife, and I walked up to them and I said to his daughter or his wife something that made them very upset, he wouldn't just turn to his daughter and say, "Oh, it's just words. Get over it."
Exactly my point.
Yeah, but this is where, like, I mean, you got to stick on your point where it's freedom to say what you want. I'm free to roll up to your daughter, witness, and say any slick shit I think I'm going to say. I'm actually free. It's not really a crime.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I'm saying.
But now, hold on. Like, let me use it on me. I'm walking with my daughter. Someone comes up and says, you black nigger and your black nigger child need to get the fuck out of our country. You disgust me. You stink. Yeah, I'm gonna beat him up. Yeah, let's just I'm gonna beat him up because you've done this in front of my daughter, and I've got an opportunity. I'm probably gonna beat you up unless there's loads of police there. If there's police there, or I'm standing right under a camera, or he's got loads of his mates standing there, then I'm gonna keep it moving. My point being is that we have choices to react in different ways. If I catch him in the alleyway on the Saturday after, I might give him a kicking. But then I'd still go onto my platform and advocate for his right to express himself without being shut down.
That's where we disagree. Everything you said before then, I agree 100%. He has the freedom to say it. You have the freedom to respond in a plethora of ways. And you mentioned the ways that you would do it, some of the ways. I agree with that part 100%.
If anything, he's more right to say online, witness. If anything, yeah, it's less offensive if he types it rather than rolling up to my daughter and saying it in her face. How about that? Because my daughter can just close the app or block him, and we're good.
Yep, I agree 100%. Everything you've said so far, I agree with, except one thing you mentioned. When you said that you would then go and advocate for his rights. I'm not advocating for the rights of my enemy. I'm not doing that.
So, by the way, yeah, let me just say, all this one's writing all this nigger stuff. Just let you know, it is Rodney K and his cohorts. Just to let you know, it's him. He's been writing the same stuff, talking about raping my daughter, raping my dead mom, and all these kind of things. So, just to let you know, I've been dealing with this level of abuse and trolling since Rodney K has been had his run-ins on the internet, and I foolishly opened my platform to allow him to speak. This is what he's been doing. Do I think he should be banned from the internet? Popping up with accounts like Jedi's mum's bullet-ridden face, or I shot Jedi's mum, or the new one that he's come up with, which is Jedi Ali nonce supporter. Should he's using my name, my full name, should he be banned from the internet? Not according to me, who's the victim of his crimes. No. Should he be arrested? Not according to me, the victim of his crimes. No. If I saw him in the street, like just accidentally in Kilburn, and I bumped into it, should he get his ass kicked? I mean, under the table, yeah. But like, would I advocate for that on a public platform? No, I'm not going to advocate for it. I'm not going to say, yes, he should be beaten up, because that's not the right thing to say. But I know that the consequences of his actions will be dire if he was met in real life. And I'm happy with that, but I don't want to encourage intolerance to people like Rodney being able to get online and express himself how he sees fit. So now we know the type of person he is. I needed Rodney to say these things, so I understood the depth of depravity that his mind can conjure up.
I think that's a healthy. That's like a weapon, isn't it? Like your weapon, like in a positive sense, it's a weapon. It's a weaponizing of someone's opinion so that you can not necessarily use it against them, but so you can locate them within your reality, right? And you position them, and you know how to
put him in his box. Okay, this way. Okay, you're one of them. Boom. Right.
And I do that every day. I think most of us do that. Maybe not most of us, but a lot of us do that every day, innit? And we're like kind of mapping. It's like a mapping exercise, isn't it? At the same time, I think it becomes more dangerous. If you're in an oppressive regime, then these things become things that you absolutely need to remove from your reality, because they're actually tools to further oppress you. If you're not an oppressive regime, then they matter less, right? But also on top of that, you might not know how these things can oppress you. So even if they're not inciting violence, they might be contributing to maybe indirectly to a violent outcome in some shape or form. That's hard to prove that, but you could probably trace forward a particular comment and see how it actually affects.
Expands and how it grows and how
it spreads out.
Well, guess what though? In that world, if that world that you've just created, that world that you're showing us, if that gets any stronger, any worse, you won't be able to say Liverpool while I say Man U. You won't be allowed.
Right.
Why? Because people fight over these things, and even though even though you don't mean no violence, people could misconstrue your words. So please just tone down your fanaticism about your football team. No, I don't want to see you in a kit. You know what? Let's make all football teams just wear the same color. Or you're not allowed a big logo on your thing because we don't want you to be a victim of violence by someone from another team that sees that. We are heading to a world like that. I promise you, we are. Yeah. So we're gonna know. We have to understand. We gotta understand when we're gonna pump the brakes. That's all I'm saying. I'm with you, witness. I am. But with all these things, I always say this. I always think to myself, how do these things affect the black man? Yeah, the black identity extremists. We need to know what we're getting down with. All this reports to the authorities, all this censorship, cancelled culture. This is leading us to total intolerance. First, it's going to start with the demons we hate, and before you know it, it'd be the demons you love, the things you love, the ways you like to express yourself, the things you like to speak out against are going to be outlawed. You're going to be told that you're inciting this. And come on, look, we can't even mention the virus. We can't mention 5G without we're being hemmed in now, and now we're going to end up stopping people from expressing how they feel about race. And I don't want that. And let me be real. Yeah, under these type of draconian measures that are going to be enforced to restrict our freedom of speech, our brothers and our sisters as well are going to be going down like fucking hot potatoes as well. I hope you know that. Do you know what I mean? Our brothers and sisters that speak their truth about the state of the world and who's in control of it and the different systems used to oppress the little people, whatever, they are also going to be boxed into a corner. We're getting back to the times where we ain't going to be able to say fuck the queen. You ain't going to be able to say, I reserve the right for someone to say the white man's the devil. Same way that they can say a black man's place is underneath a white man. I don't want either statement banned from my ears. I want to be a mature adult, a sovereign being, and decide when and what I get to hear and deal with. Big up Shaka.
Would you say that it's more important for us to be able to voice these things in person, in public, or on social media?
Look at the blur though. Look at the blurred lines though, bro. I'm doing social media in public. I'm in public doing social media. Like the lines is blurred, bro.
Just separate them for a second, yeah. So so you can't do social media in public, yeah. Any public display of these things and these sentiments or whatever is outlawed, yeah. Is it more important for you to be able to say it in public, in your human form as it is, or on social media where you've got wider reach?
It's always going to be more important to because you in human form, of course, in human form is more important because I know you got the wider reach, but to restrict your voice, your actual voice that comes out your throat, that's obviously the ultimate infringement on your human rights. Whereas
I'm asking
not to be given access to a website. This
is what I'm asking that because I feel like we don't have a realistic grasp on what
we're doing on it. Right. You're forgetting it's a website like Witness said. Yo, big up Shaka, big up G versus Wagwan, man. Yeah. What's your views on this? Should I play the video for you? Shaka, you need the video, right?
Can I just highlight something though?
Yeah.
Big up, yeah.
Big up, family. Let me play the video for you guys one more time. For Shaka and that. Here's Shaka's comments. Get G Versa, and then we'll get Reggie. Yeah?
Yeah. How's my mic sounding?
Yeah, you sounding Chris, my brother.
Yeah, say nothing.
Yeah, mum. All right, cool. Let's play this.
White man. Still white. With gingerbread. And they want me to take advice from this packy called Pretty Patel and the chocolate man next to her. Now, as a white man, I won't be listening to people of colour because they're no good in positions of power. A black man's place is under a white man, and Paki should stick to raping children in Rotherham, not telling me what I can and can't do on an evening. So yeah, fuck the Pakis and the blacks.
Right, there you go. Should he be muzzled? Should we muzzle him? Should we find out where he lives?
You know why I'm laughing? Yeah.
Should we go beat him up? Should we go beat him up, or should we get him arrested, Shaka? What should we do?
Nah, I have no interest in this guy and arresting him and campaigning against him and them kind of things. There, I'm a person. I genuinely don't get offended, yeah, by anything that white people in general, particularly openly white racist people, say. It's to me, yeah. There's two levels to this thing, right? From my perspective, right? The first is, again, my personal thing is whatever, yeah. You're any guy. If he wants to say that, say it, innit? If what he's saying, he has the power to impact and effect, then I've got a problem, yeah. Then I'm gonna have something to say, yeah. And that's because man deals with the systematic over the sentimental, innit? Yeah, this guy is any guy in wherever he is in England, just spouting sentiment, innit? It has little impact upon this man's life, except for to the extent to which it's systemized in society. And I feel like a lot of the time, it's about power, innit? Yeah, life is about power, innit? Right? And so, in effect, yeah, these people validate the system, yeah, because the system creates laws, right, to shut down these people, thereby making the rest of us feel more accepted into the system. Yeah, and so we think that the system doesn't represent what this guy is saying, but when we actually check it, it does. It just don't look like it. Yeah, and because a lot of us deal with the sentimental rather than the systematic, sometimes we're going to get fooled by that. You see what I'm saying? So we think this guy is the racist, but this guy is not the one who, what's it called? You know, it has control over bombs and multinational corporations and economic laws and unemployment and prison and school, and, you know what I'm saying, and all of these things there. Yeah, what this guy has said is nothing in comparison to what the government is responsible for in relation to the ghettos, in relation to drugs, guns, gangs, yeah, and them kind of things there. So we can focus on this guy and what he said, but what he's doing only seeks to sanitize the real systematic reality of the system that we're living in.
Can I just say,
sanitize.
Can I make a point?
Wait, let me just let G Versus in, and then I'm gonna come to you. G Versus, well, go on, brother.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody.
So what? Should we beat him up? I got his address. I know where he lives. Literally got his door number. Should we beat him up? Should we send the heavies round, or should we implore the police to arrest him and throw him in a prison or fine him? Like, what should we do?
Me personally, I think my brother's well within his reason to think and say whatever he likes, innit? That's the first thing. Obviously, man will have to face the consequences of his the words he spoke, but we can't be. It just reminds me, like, anyone who goes too far and beyond, it just, like, did we not go through school? Like, I mean, I'm not really for academic institutions and that, but if there's one thing I would have to say school taught, man, and it was a hard one to learn, is this sort of need to respond every time your name is called. It's necessary. At some point, you have to understand that in your class, there's going to be people that are disruptive, you know, and that is no more than disruptive behavior. So what do? Do we give him what he wants, which is this attention, or maybe, you know what I mean? Like, it's very childlike. His words, and then even more so the responses, because like Shaka said, it's emotional. No rational man's sitting there. He's gonna close his book that he was reading, you know, put out his whatever he was smoking, sitting on his armchair, sophisticated and that, watch that, and then be riled up. He's gonna chuckle and move on with his day and think, what a clown.
Yeah.
Can I ask the brother, what's your name, bro?
I was waiting to speak after him, remember?
So basically, what he's highlighting though is that
Khan. Sorry, bro. Like, only because I had an order. I know Reggie was waiting.
No. I didn't realize how Reggie's so polite. I didn't realize.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, just jump in after him. Go on, Reggie.
Yeah, what I would say is that society tends to run by what is best for the wider group, as opposed to what certain individuals or smaller groups might think is okay. So we have to think about the wider group. We're thinking, okay, what's good for it? Like Jaden made a point about his own personal opinion. I made my own point about my personal opinion. Everyone's made their own personal opinion. But at the end of the day, we have to think about different age groups. We have to think about your children that might be listening to this kind of garbage. We have to think about what if this was a child making the comments and other children are listening to this. We have to think about if the children in the playground are calling each other, oh, this P word or this N word, you know what I'm saying, and vice versa. We have to think about what does that do for the wider society. Yes, Jedi might be able to verbally go at it with someone, or may be able to physically intimidate someone into coming off that kind of hype. But maybe your children might not be able to. Maybe your children won't be able to handle being called the N word or being called the P word. You know what I'm saying?
That's my failing, though, no?
Beautiful point. Very good point.
Wait, 1 second. Is that not my failing? Or are my children just wards of the state? Like, am I not raising them? Is it not for me to instill the resilience or arm them with the ability to, retort or not? Like,
yes, it is. And speaking from experience, children are quite capable of dealing with these things once they're equipped with the tools to deal with it, right? You see what I'm saying? I was never shielded from the reality of racism, and at whatever point I was going to face it, I was prepared for it. Yeah. So as a child, them things that would mean more to man. You know what I'm saying? Because you are a child, right? That makes absolute sense. And then as a child, you or as a parent, you're able to contextualize that in as much as you contextualize anything. What's it called? You know what I'm saying?
I got a good one for you. Yeah, I'm trying to think who dropped it on me. I can't remember who it was, but if you made this statement, you remember, yeah, because it was bad. Yeah. Do you believe in freedom of speech, Shaka? Are you an advocate for that?
I'd say for the most part, I don't have a problem with the idea of freedom of speech. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean,
so someone said the teacher should be free to use words like nigger and packy in school then.
And so the reality is, I think, again, if you're dealing with children, I would imagine that it would be responsible to have codes of conduct in relation to things like that. Yeah, that makes sense. At the same time, I'm less concerned. For me, where I'm coming from is the least of the problems that my child is going to have in school is somebody calling them a nigger. In this society, the education system is a part of the machinery of the state, right? And so I'm more concerned about that. It doesn't mean I'm not concerned about somebody calling my child a nigger. I would deal with that situation if it was to occur. Yeah. But I'm saying I don't think that's the worst thing my child's going to face in the education system. Yeah, there's worse. And I'm saying that the sensibility that is the worst thing that they're going to face is based upon the idea of being accepted and assimilated into the system. You see what I'm saying? If my preoccupation is with my child feeling accepted and assimilated and a part of British society, then yes, that is going to be my number one concern, because I'm concerned about the fact that these people are rejecting my child. If that's not my number one concern, then my priorities are different.
Right.
Shaka, 1 sec though. Ain't it right that to a certain degree, all this stuff, this liberal, messed up society that we're in, to a certain extent, as ethnic minorities, we are sort of immune to it because we know the system is not for us from day one. So in a way, we have got that kind of like, I'm gonna filter what's coming from these people. Like, but if you're sending your kid to school to be assimilated and to be accepted, that's my greatest fear, to be honest.
It's a question. It's not a question of priority.
I just want to know if that's what Shaka was saying.
Yeah, but
I don't want to misinterpret what he's saying.
It's not a question of whether the words that people say are priority or not. At the end of the day, racial abuse is another form of weapon. Is another weapon against black people and against minorities. It's simple as that. Whether it's your priority or not to censor that does not mean that you should not see it as an issue. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day,
Reggie,
yeah, go on.
You raise really good points. Yeah, I'm not going to knock you because today you've been on point. let's say for argument's sake, we've all been through the same level of abuse, right? Growing up and being through the school system. Everyone's reacted differently. Let's say, for example, Jedi's become more patient because he's like, I'm going to save my energy when my real enemy's in front of me. Whereas the next man, like Preston, for example, he can tell you that growing up in England and going through the system has made him the man he is today, made him realize that he has to stand up for things when at point of contact. Like when you see it in your face, bam, it's time to act. So what I'm saying is everyone has dealt with the same thing differently. So really, we can't tell people how to feel, innit? So when we're saying someone can say something, but then you're free not to feel a certain way, really, we can't tell the next man how to feel, though. Someone might want to.
You know what's interesting to me, yeah, all right, about this, yeah, just an observation, right? That and it's partly why I was laughing when I heard what he said, is because of the last thing that he said is that to quote, yeah, Pakis should stick to raping children in whatever.
He said Bradford.
Rotherham, right? Yeah, which is interesting, yeah. So he evoked, yeah, the stereotype and the stigma of the Pakistani raping gang, yeah, grooming gang, right? In the statement, right? And which is interesting to me in the sense of the fact that we understand where that comes from, yeah, in this society and what it's about, all right? And you have various groups of people that are in the society for what's it called, you know, that describe themselves differently, and sometimes go on like they're not the same. And I'm speaking of the Civnats and the Fnats, yeah, in this regard. But they all evoke that same trope, yeah, that same stigma and that same stereotype. And some of us as black people feel that we can align with the Civnats, yeah, against the Fnats and against these other groups that they speak derisively and derogatorily about, right? But when we get the lick, you know what I'm saying, it's a different story. And some of us feel that we have an interest, yeah, in protecting their free speech, yeah, to be able to speak that way and them kind of things there. So I find it to be a thing whereby there's different interests in the society. For this white man, where he is, his power is in the ability to offend so-called ethnic minorities and galvanize groups of white people to protect their interests. For the power elite, their power is being able to present the veneer and the veil of human rights, civil rights, and assimilation, yeah, inclusion into the system and the society. And so these agendas sometimes conflict, yeah, but really they work, yeah, towards the same interest in it, right? So I'm not one of them people that I'm comfortable when it's not being directed at me necessarily. Do you know what I'm saying? And but I don't see it, yeah. Sorry, or should I say I don't see it when it's not being directed at me. But my vision becomes 2020 when, you know, it's veiled in another kind of way, and sometimes it gets another group of people. That's a joke.
What I was going to say is, first thing, hail liberalism. I'm a big advocate for liberalism and the philosophy of it. It's not perfect, but it has a lot of benefits, so I won't throw liberalism under the bus. Second thing, in regards to the discussion of freedom of speech, in my opinion, we have to be careful. Those who complain about freedom of speech being curtailed, we have to be careful. They have the freedom to say what they want. I believe the real agenda is they want to have the freedom to control how you respond to their speech. They want to have the power to manipulate how you respond to their speech. So they'll tell you that, oh, you're being emotional, you're being illogical, you're being irrational. No, they have the freedom to say what they want, and you have the freedom and the power to respond however you want. I think they're trying to trick people into in trying to control how people respond. That's what I believe.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to hear people. I don't want to hear people calling people packy nigger and all this stuff. But I'm way more comfortable in a world where people use these terms, so I can identify them. Like, I just way more, because I think we were in a time where I was being told point blank to my face, that racism is done. Like, stick a fork in it, it's over. Yeah? It's over. Look, we got Diane Abbott, we got Lammy, that's what they told me. We got Obama over there, we got this one and that one, Jay-Z and Beyonce. Racism is over, my friend. Yeah? And so now we can see that the manager of a football team clearly is racist, clearly is in a position of power. Looking at the football team, the polo pucks, I see no black members. Did black people try out? Were black people even considered or invited to try out? How are the black staff there, if any, or Asian staff there, treated? How does that impact the Sunday League or the First Division League or whatever team he's a manager for, whatever league they're in? How does that impact them, knowing that there's a fully racist manager? Will he select other racist players to play under him so that he can build an echo chamber of racism? These are the things that come into mind, but not banning him off social media and not kicking his ass, even though I'm sure he will get his ass kicked.
Can I make a counter statement, counter comment? I would say, like, for me, it's more important to be able to now identify those less overt tendencies and practices now, because we know what a racist looks like when they speak in it. Yeah, that's not our challenge. Our challenge is to see where it's hiding, right, or what. Okay. Yeah.
But I hear what you're saying. But if we ignore this part, then we're just going to force more of them to hide, which is going to make the job you're describing harder.
No, but what I'm saying is they're not hiding, though. There are channels that I've given you examples of. You've got you've got millennial woes. There's a whole vocabulary they use to express what they're saying without saying the N-word or the P-word. They talk about anti-white agenda. They talk about a globalist cultural Marxist system, which is propagating quotas and laws to deliberately suppress the white race and propagate the white race. So there are channels that are doing this. They've been doing this for years. They've got like hundreds of people on their views. There's a whole narrative that they're able to push out. They don't need to go and say the P word or the N word. So they still have the freedom on social media. It's like you were telling me about those pedophiles. They don't blatantly come out and say the most extreme stuff, but they have another way of expressing it, which allows them to have a platform. So they're still out there. They still have the freedom. They just change the way they say things, but you have to read between the lines, basically.
And you'll seldom find people that will actually tell you that racism doesn't exist anymore. I mean, it's an incurable disease, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like, it will be there till probably the end of time. So all this...
I agree. I agree. So if that's the case, why are we doing what we're doing then? Why are we making words hateful? Why are we making words illegal? Why are we demonizing people for doing something that we believe will always exist?
Here's
the funny thing, though.
No. But what you understand, Khan, is somebody wants it to be demonized. Don't ever get it twisted. But why? And I think the reason is one day your Turkish flag will have to come down. You won't even be able to upload it. One day you're going to want to upload your Turkish flag, the crescent and the star, as your background, and the website's can say your browser does not support nationalistic for reasons of stamping out racism.
Yeah, that's already happened. Like, if you get a black piece of cloth and raise it, he's raised the ISIS flag, the black banner. You get me? That man done it at Speaker's Corner already. They raised the black flag.
Well, that's
and everyone went nuts. Everyone went crazy.
My point is this: one day you're gonna want that as your profile picture, and you're not gonna be allowed on. Do you want to live in that world?
That to me is a sacrifice I will gladly make.
Oh my God.
I'll gladly take that. I will see it as an oppression, but when I look at the overall oppression of people in general, then I would rather someone say to me, you can't raise your black flag as long as that man over there ain't called the N-word. I'll say that's fine.
Yeah, let me come in after Shaka.
Yeah, go on, Shax. Yeah.
It's just funny to me that, because obviously we've had a lot of conversation about whether people are being racist or not, right? And the only criteria seems to be what did they say? So they have to say the word nigger, identified as a racist, right?
Mhm.
And then the subject matter becomes, well, if they don't say these things, or you know what I'm saying, or they're offensive to another group of people, are they still racist? Yeah, and we have to go through all of that to identify things that are clearly seen, right? Witness is just correct here when he says they find other ways of saying it, yeah, and of couching it. But if we're sensible enough and we know the history enough, we should be able to identify the signs, yeah. So it shouldn't take for a guy to say this thing, right? But we're in a debate whether this guy is racist versus say the other guy who's prominent, Tommy Robinson, yeah, right? We're going to debate whether Tommy Robinson's racist, but this guy's definitely racist because he's a Pacquiao nigger, yeah. But then both of them use the same tropes, right? Just what I'm saying. If you actually check it, like man is saying the same thing minus Pacquiao nigger.
Right? That's what I said. That's what I said.
Right.
So if he never used the P word, remember he never said nigger. You know, let's be factual. He said P.
He said
yeah,
black people. True.
Yeah, he said black people. So I'm saying if he said Asians and black people, then this whole statement would be like it'd just be fine. It'd be fine.
Yeah, which is a joke to me. That's unintelligent thinking. It's immature and unsophisticated, and that's why it's important to do systematic analysis rather than a sentimental analysis. Because white people hurt your feelings, yeah, is not the most important thing. It's about social, economic, and political mobility. Yeah, if we start there, it can go up in it. Just what I'm saying, to having actual power in the world.
You know, yeah. My grandma has a saying. She said, "Only a hit dog hollers." So for those that feel so offended, I think it's more of an internalized. You have to look internally after why you feel bothered by that. Why do you feel bothered by juvenile?
I'm genuinely unbothered by my man's statements. You know, like genuinely unbothered. So when someone's saying, when someone I saw a comment saying, "Raw, who's this guy? We need to find him." To do what, bro?
I mean,
let me say something quickly.
And my guy was talking about children, and we need to be careful of this kind of this behavior because it will affect the children. Children are so easily influenced by everything. And I remember, I'm sure we all remember being a child, even though we know right from wrong, even though my mom said you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't say that. In my house, I probably, I know the rules, but the minute I'm in school, the playground with the rest of the kids, I'm behaving and doing things that I wouldn't normally do. And this notion that children are going to be anything less than children or anything more than children is silly. Like, we have to go through that phase. We all have to go through that phase of being immature, saying the wrong things so we know what to say in the future, the right things. You know, we adults, so we know better. That man who went on there, he knows better than to do that. But regardless of whether he believes them sentiments to be true or not, he knows better to actually go out on the platform and say it. But he said it regardless, you know? So,
bro, can I ask you a quick question?
Wait, calm. I was waiting, bro. I was waiting.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to, like, maybe you don't need to pick up on this point, anyone, but I want to put it out there anyway for consideration, maybe later on. There's something I haven't really broken it down yet, but the system seems to be able to utilize both sides of this argument, yeah, to maintain the system. I'm putting that out there, yeah. Freedom of speech, yeah, and censorship, yeah, because we're seeing sometimes equal measures of both in different spheres of society, right? It's not that radio is more like radio is aligned with TV and is aligned with social media. No. They kind of go up and down and they have different approaches to different things. Yeah, you got things like Ofcom and all that stuff, but essentially the system seems to be able to still churn out the same oppressive regimes and curriculums for our children whilst all of this jousting is going on, right? I think at some point we need to look at why is it that the system is able to still do what it wants to do regardless.
Can I ask, like, what do you do in the event that someone has this kind of rhetoric from numerous people? So you get different forms of it. This is actually quite mild compared to some of them that you hear. But in the event of hearing these kinds of rhetoric, they decide to perhaps get inside a car and drive into a mosque, or perhaps pick up a rifle and go into.
No, that's not fair, though. I mean, no.
What if they do decide to do this on the back of hearing all these sentiments?
But again, then we've got to the point of actual effect, right? Yeah, then we've actually got to the point of actual effect. That's what I'm saying. So, to quote Kwame Ture, yeah, if a white man wants to lynch me, that's his problem. If he has that power to actually do it, that's my problem, right? So we can deal with the actual activity, yeah. What's it called? Coming out of the sentiment. You know what I'm saying? On a level, right? That's possible. But that's exactly what I'm saying. The society that we live in doesn't have to say it in order to action it and put it in place. So the equivalent of shooting up a mosque is the disproportionate levels of black people in jail, in the mental health institutions, yeah, stopped and searched, yeah. The equivalent of shooting up a church is the extent to which disenfranchised or deprived areas of the UK, yeah, are flooded with drugs, yeah. Right, that's what I'm saying. That we know that the authorities of the nation have a hand in distributing. That's the equivalent. You know what I'm saying, and so it doesn't take for them to say nigger on in Parliament and call packies, the Prime Minister to call people packies to make that happen. Yeah, they do it with smiles and with talks of inclusion. Yeah, and multiculturalism. Right,
there is a direct link. There's a direct link between speech and these various forms of attack. There's a very direct link. So you don't have to say that, oh, it's one or the other. You know what I'm saying? There's actually a direct link between all these cases.
One is not saying that there's one or the other. We're saying that at least I'm saying that it's both and I'm saying that this guy saying whatever he's saying in and of itself, yeah, needs to be put in the context of the broader society and what it's dealing with, yeah. And so I've already done that in the sense of the fact that this guy is speaking from his position as a maybe working class white man who's not a part of the elite, and he's exercising his power to try and offend, you know what I'm saying, them kind of they're based upon the historic power that these same elites have exercised around the world. That's what he's doing, yeah. But he's not the primary thing. Is the point I'm making. Him saying this in and of itself is not the result or causing the disproportionate levels of disparities that we're seeing in the society. No, the people that are responsible for that are not saying what this guy is saying. They're talking about inclusion. Yeah, there is a direct relationship between speech and actions and policies. So really, what we should be. Yeah, no, but I'm saying really, yeah. No, it's not an argument. I'm not arguing, bro. I'm not arguing. Really, what we should be analyzing is what they're saying in Parliament, yeah, and how that reflects in what society.
Check her out. You do this all the time. I mean, at the end,
can I just say something?
We understand. There's a bigger form of racism that we need to challenge and deal with. But today, we are dealing with this form of racism, which is about the speech of this gentleman,
right?
And still, we're not talking about the what do you call it, the elite or whatever you call it and what they're saying. We're trying to focus on this particular one. So
the interesting thing about it, yeah. No, I thought the conversation was about free speech, right? So I'm saying to you that okay, let me just say this directly to relate to what you just said, yeah. The funny thing is, yeah, that the people them, yeah, that will defend free speech, yeah, and them kind of things there, especially in relation to people like this and you know others, yeah, like Tommy them, right, seem to get belligerent, yeah, when it comes to the idea that you live in a society that has these disparities and you speak about them, yeah, that you should be grateful, yeah, as a black man for the benefits of living in Britain, and you know what I'm saying, this society has given you so much. You should consider yourself a grand and grateful beneficiary, yeah,
yes.
Of British, what's the word, benevolence, yeah, in this regard, right? And so there seems to be a disparity even in terms of the kind of speech that these people defend and protect, yeah, and these things. So it doesn't matter. This guy is he's asking for people to be subjected to what's the word, second class citizenship. But when we actually say, well, actually in this society, this is the disparities that actually exist, then there's a problem with that. We shouldn't say those things either. So there seems to be something wrong there.
No, let me make my point now, please.
Everybody on this panel is unanimous in the fact that most of the influence,
unanimous,
Khan. We understand that we understand that most of the racism that is going to influence us is going to come from Parliament. It's going to come from the elite. That's evidential. But we're talking about the racism that comes from a lot of the people that even have access to the platform, to these platforms, that come in and out of these platforms and say certain things. We're talking on that level right now. Like, we're not comparing it to the level of influence that the parliament have. That is evidently clear that this man who said this thing will not have as much impact on our lives as the people in parliament. That's just common sense.
But 1 minute, Reggie, if this guy was a tramp in the park, yeah, and I was driving past him in a 20 grand Malta and he looked up at me and said what he just said on that video, I'll laugh at him and drive off. But when it's somebody who has the influence to hire and fire people and to set up hierarchies of power and to influence his society, then it matters. That's why we're speaking about it. Because if he was a tramp in the park, we wouldn't be really speaking about it. Right? But given who he is, we have to address it. But what Shaka just said, to him, from his low level, he's seeing us as if we're all driving around in 20 grand motors and as if his great granddad paid for it. This is the illusion that they're under. So for them, unless you're under them, yeah, that is an injustice to them. You understand?
These are the people that you, the likes of you, Khan, etc., are going to have access to.
No, this is the likes of your best friend Jupiter saying when minorities are funded, the money's taken away from the majority of white working class people. That is the same mentality that this guy's pushing. He's saying, unless you're one step lower than me, I'm not happy.
I don't know whether this is Jupiter. All I'll say is that these are the kind of people that you're going to find here on YouTube. You'll find them on the street, etc. So I'm not even going to, like, the government and the parliament is another ilk. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying. You'd address that with a different. I think that's a totally different. Well, it's not totally different, but I'll say it's a different conversation. But everyone is clear here and unanimous that obviously the impact that their racism is going to have on society is different. Is obvious. You know
Sorry, can I just say that the reason why the parliament and the elites are actually a fundamental aspect of the conversation is because we're discussing whether laws should be put in place, to censor these people. That's what we're discussing, right? It's part of the conversation. That takes into consideration the elites of the land. It takes into consideration the politicians, the parliament, and various other institutions of power. Yeah. And so to me, what I'm trying to say is it's a contradiction in that sense, because these are the same people that are actually responsible for the actual effects or putting into place the sentiments that this man is expressing. And so the power of the elites is in the fact that they are allowed to sanitize their image in relation to individuals like this, and allow us to make us feel more, and we fall for it because we feel more accepted and assimilated and Britain's a multicultural society, when this guy is nothing in comparison to what the hell is actually going on in the world.
Regardless. So what do you want the elite to do, or the parliamentary people to do? Just allow this guy to spout his stuff and not do anything about it, and then someone else will say, "Oh, well, look,
maybe we should rely on the power of the elite."
Like, what kind of fallacious argument is that? Like, you're saying that,
maybe we shouldn't rely on the power of the elite. And by the way, I think that it's nonsense, right, for us to kid ourselves and act like the statements, like, whereas we speak about the possibility, the possibility of the statements of this European individual, who's a repugnant individual. There's no doubt about that. We don't have to defend this guy, right? He's an idiot, what's it called? But the statements that he's making, the possibility of them resulting in the bombing of a church or the shooting up of a mosque or whatever. The reality is that the policies of government do result in those things. That's a fact.
Indeed.
Yeah, right. We don't have to speculate, right? They do result in those things on a daily basis.
What I wanted to chime in here is almost the disingenuous sort of like stance on this is, we're saying, what do we want our government to do about this individual who is spouting a rhetoric that we know, we all probably are all agreement that deep down within the roots of our government, it aligns completely with that. So it's almost like scolding the child in public, but in private, yes, son, you did the right thing. We know our government deep down is in alignment with what this guy is saying. So it's almost like, regardless of whether the government punished this individual or not, like Shaka said, it doesn't matter, because the government itself is the perpetuator of that very.
That's correct. So they can't win. They can't win and they can't lose. So if they don't do anything, you'll have people pointing here saying, "Oh, the government, this is what they think. This is what they think. And if they do something, oh, you guys align with them anyway. So what? You know
No,
what I'm saying?
it's,
So I
it's,
don't
you know what it's more
you
about,
know what I
bro.
mean? Like,
Do you know what it's
it's
more
I'm
about?
just
Yeah?
going to put my
It's more about
disclaimer
us,
out
isn't it?
there. There's a lot that's been going on, and I'm going to speak for myself. Freedom of speech is about power. It's about the power to say what you want, and people have the power to respond. This man had the power to say what he wanted. He chose to use that power. There are repercussions for saying things. People chose to respond to him. I heard he ended up losing his job. So there are people who feel the need that they can respond back to this guy. He can't now complain. He had the freedom to say what he wanted. He said it, and now he's had to deal with the repercussions. This whole thing of going into a larger scale of saying that secretly the government is supporting this, that's fine. That's your rhetoric. I'm just sticking to the facts here. He had the freedom to
I'm not
say what he
agreeing to that
wanted.
either.
He had the freedom to say what he wanted. He said it, and people have the power to respond how they wanted, and they've responded. That's it. You can't have it both ways. You can't control or manipulate how people respond to your words. You can say what you want, and people can respond how they want. That's what's happened.
Witness, what are you saying? So every action deserves a reaction. Is that what you're saying?
Well, there will be. That's just called regardless of whether you want it or not.
To quote Bob
Man
Marley.
ain't feel, if he loses his job, man ain't feeling sorry for him, right? And them thing there. I'm not going to be out there campaigning and going to court for it with man and them thing there. That's long, right? Do you know what I'm saying? I don't protect what he's trying to say. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just placing it in all in context, in it. That's the point, right? And I think that the idea that we should be reliant upon whatever the government does, and bearing in mind, a lot of this has a history, right? So there was a time when this kind of speech would result directly more in or was accompanied by direct attacks, on black people. Do you know what I'm saying? We have to place that in proper context as well. It wasn't that long ago where, you know what I'm saying, a lot of our parents and grandparents, had to protect themselves, on a daily basis on the roads out here. Do you know what I'm saying? In relation to the possibility of those kinds of attacks. So we don't want to minimize or belittle the possibility, and when that possibility arises, or we should be mindful, of it, and organize in relation to it. But all I'm saying is we shouldn't go on like say, this is the epitome of racism. Like, it's just not.
This is why they say black Muslims are the new black, because of this kind of sentiments. Actually, you get a lot from them. I talk about Islamophobia, etc., and the attacks that go on off the back of it. So this speech thing that people are alluding to has a physical impact on minorities. It has a physical impact, and as Shakra mentioned, it was more prevalent to the black community back in the past than it is now. But still, it does have an impact. You know what I'm saying? But obviously, if people feel like, like whether they do something, whether they don't, it doesn't matter. We'll just not talk about and concentrate on the parliament. Then that's up to them, isn't it? Like, you know what I'm saying?
But at the same time, the people that making those arguments are going to deny it when it comes to attacks against minorities that they don't like in this country, innit? So if people say, well, it does, put it this way. Whereas I agree, that sometimes the term Islamophobia, is loosely used and defined. It doesn't make sense to make the argument that one just made and then challenge the idea completely of Islamophobia, is what I'm going to say.
I just wanted to add, by the way, that when I said that this individual was being rewarded behind closed doors, I didn't necessarily mean like once he finished that stream, he got a large sum of money deposited into his bank account. But what rather more so just like he speaks for more than just himself. We have to understand that he is speaking on a notion that is embedded within this country. You feel me? Them very sentiments he said. It may be somewhat watered down in this day and age, and even certain things. I mean, just the fact that they have those individuals in place of ethnic backgrounds in there gives the illusion once again that he somehow is coming from he's speaking with validity. Are these people trying to give me orders? By the end of the day, we know who runs the country. We know them people there aren't really in that position of power that is depicted. They're just pawns. So that's what I wanted to say.
Can I get a minute? Can I just say something?
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
I agree that the global imperialist agenda and the white supremacist movement is linked. Yeah, I agree with that. But when these men go around the world, yeah, they go around the world cap in hand, begging, making deals, licking arse, turning one man against the other man. Yeah. But when they come home, they're selling a different story of supremacy. So their population doesn't look at them as unjust, immoral, because they're doing immoral and unjust things to their own population as well. So what they do is they corrupt them, yeah, and make them an ally to something that's corrupting. That then it sets the stage for the groundwork to not turn against them. So this is that with the narrative. When you balance off the global supremacy or the global imperialism and the supremacy at home, yes, they go hand in hand. But we can't say that there is a supremacist ideology globally. There isn't, because if all of us got together, we could unthrone these lot in 2 seconds, and everyone knows that, because we hold all the resources and we hold all the numbers. So let's not like con ourselves into thinking the enemy is bigger than what it is. Yeah. But at home on a street level,
I definitely wasn't doing that. I definitely wasn't doing that. But I hear what you're saying, though.
I'm
I agree with you, man.
I'm extrapolating from what you said. Yeah. So based on the at home position, these lot that's been conned into this supremacist patriotic ideology, it's only so they will work for less money. It's only so they will send their children off to fight in wars that are unjust and immoral. That they're the biggest fools of all. Like I said earlier, that's why as foreigners, in a way, we're lucky that we look at everything through a filter where we think, all right, that's true, but that's not true. That's true, but that's not true. But they don't do that. They're completely brainwashed by what they're told. Now, the difference here is, yeah, if I can actually remember the point I was going to make, right, is that in every movement, yeah, in every people, there's cool heads and hot hearts, right? So we got people that saying, don't respond to this guy. He's just being a provocateur. Forget it. But then you got hot hearts that are swelling and saying, bro, this is the feeling of the wedge. If this man can go around saying this, then what's next, right? Sure. So them two things need to be balanced off. If we're going to tell our young people, don't get sucked in, at the same time, we have to prepare ourselves for when they flip the script and say, we can't take it no more, that we're going to be at the head of it, steering them in the right direction. So being cool-headed is all well and good. But when the time comes for action and you're still trying to maintain this cool-head approach, you're doing your own people an injustice. Do you understand? Because once you get me? So there's always that balance, isn't it? There's always that balance that needs to be maintained.
Yeah, like the straw that broke the camel's back, I suppose.
Right. That's it. And
I
at that point,
to
turn around and basically downplay those people's emotions and their feelings, you're doing them an injustice, especially if they're your own people that you've been telling to stay calm this whole time. When the time comes to move, you got to be ahead of the movement, innit?
100.
Because that energy, look at, for example, BLM. That energy, it will just, without the right guidance, it will just dissipate. Because then that's what energy does, isn't it? It dissipates. It will just fizzle out. Every energy needs to have that direction on it. So if you look historically, every great man had a good brethren. So Prophet Muhammad had Abu Bakr, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, had Abu Bakr. Che Guevara, yeah, he had and Fidel Castro. You get me? There's always a cool head and a hot heart, and the hot heart represents the people, and the feeling, the emotion of the people, the energy. Get me? But it takes the cool head to guide it, to make it into an actual movement. So when we're looking at things like this is what I was going to come to your point earlier, that these people that try to provoke minorities are not taking into consideration that they don't really know those people. They've not spent time with those people. They can't tell you what will evoke them into action.
Let me play this quick voice note. Someone sent me on Instagram, yeah? Follow me on Instagram, REDPILLTRILL. Connect with me, send me personal messages and whatnot, and ask me questions and that. I'm available for it. So yeah, make sure you follow me on Instagram or any other platform. Just look for REDPILLTRILL, you find me. So let me play this here. This is from my Irish mate.
Jedi, what you gotta do, bruv, yeah, is listen to the geezer's accent. He's northern, for fuck's sake. Right? They ain't got no black people up there. Right? So they don't realise how decent most of the black people are. Yeah, I've mixed with you for I don't know how long. Since we were fucking kids, bruv. I only mixed with black people. I'm Irish. I didn't get on with English white people, right? I did not get on with English white people. I mixed with black people only because I got on better with them. But what you got to remember is when you're doing your fucking speeches, Jedi, yeah, and this ain't no disrespect between me and you as friends, yeah, there's fucking bare black racists towards white people. Right? There's bare black people that fucking hate white people and they're racist towards white people. And you've got to look at that as well, bruv. We all need to unite together as one. Yeah? But we've got that dirty fucking... We've got that little percentage of both sides that fucking hate on each other. That's what we need to sort, bruv. And then you know what? We're fucking sweet, mate. That's when the world needs to watch out. When we're all bonded as one. That's when the world needs to watch out and the government need to watch out because the government don't want us to be friends, you know.
Right. If you don't want to send me voice notes like that to get your voice pop across, hit me up, Red Pill Trill. I answer most requests and I'll play it. So, I mean, what did you think about what my Irish mate was saying?
Yeah, big up that man. That's a real Irishman there. Big
what
up
do you think?
that man.
Did you agree? Did anyone agree? Shaka, let me ask you. What did you think about what he was saying? If you heard
sentimental, you know, sentimental, and I was systematic. You know what I'm saying? That's really what it is. I think that you know, yeah, he's entitled to his opinion at the end of the day. To me, the statement that the guy made, yeah, it's not that it's not important. It's just that I'm not placing more importance on it than it requires. That's all it is. I'm not even saying not to take it seriously. Mark what he said. Understand who he is, yeah, from based upon what he said. All right, you know what I'm saying? We just know that and we could put it into context for the wider society. On the point about there's black people that hate white people, yeah, I'm sure there are some black people that hate white people in the world today.
Are you one of them? Are you one of them?
No, I'm relatively indifferent to white people, to be honest with you. I have nothing against white people because of the fact of their whiteness.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Your name was thrown forward very quickly.
Yeah, of course it will be.
Right? So, like, I kind of want to touch on it. I'm not really trying to like.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to mess up your name on that, yeah. So, like, look,
it's cool.
There's claims from white people that Shaka's racist. Someone said Shaka said all white people fi bon.
No, they're misquoting. The actual statement was the white man for dead still, you know.
All right. I mean, sorry, that was a nervous giggle. Let me just say, that was a nervous giggle. It wasn't one of agreement. So the white man for what? The white man for dead.
Yes.
One.
Yes.
So all right. So that statement on its own. There's a sound clip or a video of this black guy saying "white man for dead." He's gonna now lose his job and be up for violence. What do you mean by that? Is that Is that not racist?
No. What the individual who's, because this is being promoted by people who have been vociferously anti-black, yeah, in terms of their racism recently, right? And they're using this as a justification for it, yeah, despite the fact that they were on that level before anyway. The statement was made in a conversation, and it was said at the time that it was a facetious statement. And would contextualize within the context of the fact that, no, I'm not saying that we should go on wanting killing of white people. However, it would be true to say that in the last 500 years, there has been certain occasions, like for example, Nat Turner in Haiti, where it was necessary to kill some white people. That's just a reality of the situation. And that was the context of the statement that was made. It was not made as a serious comment or anything like that. And the people that keep dropping it, well, maybe some of them don't because they're just following people, right? But that's the point. You know what I'm saying? So people say, like, I'm not getting vexed at white people making off-color jokes. I'm not even offended by this guy. Right? Yeah. What he said. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, man ain't railing against this individual, yeah, and what he said. So yeah, the idea that the statement that I made was somehow symbolic of a deep hatred towards white people is a joke, and those who are peddling it know it.
Okay. I mean, anyone else got any questions on that? Jump on. If you think Shaka's doing the Harlem Shuffle or the electric slide out of that one, come on and hold him to task. Reggie, hold the flame to Shaka's feet, man. Come on, man.
If anybody, I'm gonna say like this, Jedi. Anybody find the recording and play the Rascal Out thing? Play it. Yeah.
Okay. Is there an acceptable context? Is there an acceptable context with which a white man could say black man dead or black man die or whatever?
I'm sure there is.
Hold on.
Yeah,
let's understand the rhetoric. Let's understand the rhetoric.
I'll explain it.
When you say if you're a white man, you don't mean the white man that lives next door to you. You're talking about systematic.
Whoa. Khan, don't create no fire exits for Shaka, the great Shaka. Yeah, but you're telling him. Oh,
he's not.
No, I'm not talking to him.
You are. You just did. You said when
I say you, I don't mean you. I mean you as in the universal you. Like when you meaning us. When you use the term the white man.
You're white though. You're white though.
Yeah, but exactly. This is the point I was going to bring up. You're telling me your skin's white, yeah, but I'm not of the white race, and I'm not nothing to do with the man or the white man or what we're talking about here. Do you understand? So you have to understand that this terminology comes from American struggle. The black people in America that coined this phrase, the man. They're talking about the white man. Yeah, they're not talking about Syrians or Turks.
Sorry,
institutionalized racism.
Allow me to answer good brother Reggie's question. Yeah, is there an acceptable context? Yeah, this force equivalence, right? So let me address the acceptable context. There is an acceptable context for a white man to say black man for dead. Yeah, that acceptable context is black people. What's it called? Developing an ideal called black supremacy, yeah, and imposing that upon white people, enslaving them for over 500 years, colonizing them, and in the name of our supremacy, degrading them, calling their religions devil worship, degrading the color of their skin, you know what I'm saying, and dehumanizing them to the point, yeah, that we have legitimate studies that are done called scientific racism, where we attempt to prove, yeah, the genetic and biological and intellectual inferiority of white people, build an entire governmental and economic system based upon that reality, and continue to brutalize them, rob all of their resources in the name of our black supremacy. After all of that, a white man has a right to say, you know what, black man for dead. Yeah, they have a right to do that. Trust me.
Anyone agree? I mean, I wanted to stand up during your speech, not even because I agreed with it, just because you're just such a good talker, bro. I think you could argue and debate on any side, even if you didn't agree. Like, you're very good. So, I mean, I'm gonna step into the moderator role before me and Chaka end up in big sound clash on another Sunday. You ain't getting that one. So someone else get at him though, like, disagree, man. Or do you all agree?
What I would say though, even with that statement, it's like you sound like you're creating some sort of retribution. Like you sound like you got vendetta from that statement. So you have sort of contextualized it, but at the end of the day, it sounds like you're now entitled to want white people to be dead based off the back of all those events that you pointed towards.